I'd like to say I'm glad to be here, but why start with an untruth? Being here is like reliving my misspent youth. Face leaning on my hand like a fed up kid. Sat here in my robes with one closed eyelid. Every day and twice on Sundays, probable cause from DNA. Your time in advance conspiracy theory is so crazy it's making me weary. They found some guy did reverse engineering. I've aged more than a year just in this hearing. We can all go home if we go for a plea. Come on, let's go, the drinks are on me. Every day and twice on Sundays, probable cause from DNA. Your time in advance conspiracy theory is so crazy it's making me weary. None of this case makes sense, so I shoot down the defense. My impartiality is compromised. Is this gonna be televised? Every day and twice on Sundays, probable cause from DNA. Your time in advance conspiracy theory is so crazy it's making me weary. Making me weary. Making me weary. It's making me weary.
Close the night out right, panel at the table in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare, every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright, every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
All right, everybody, welcome to a Crimes After Dark show. It is good to see you on a Thursday evening. We're a little light on the panel tonight because it's one's night off. He's here. It's JJ's night off. It is also Dago's night off. And so that's a normal planned thing. So it's going to be Robin and I and one on the show tonight. And so therefore, it's a great night for you to come in and give your opinions. Christopher Whitcomb seems to have made shockwaves across the true crime community. With his new book, Broken Plea, out, the community seems to be now dividing and taking sides, with some YouTubers claiming that this is a whitewash, it's a government plant. Maybe DA has his own government handler now telling him what to say. So there are those who will go on with Christopher Whitcomb and talk about the book and ask questions. And then there are those who will be critical and say, well, why didn't Chris answer this question? Why didn't he answer that question? Then there are people who say, I'll never have that piece of garbage on my show. He's clearly trying to steer the narrative. He hasn't said a damn thing in his book that isn't out there in the public. I don't know. Those people, I think, have a little bit of a problem. You've obviously never read the book. There's all kinds of stuff in the book that has never been released to the public. So if you're repeating the narrative that the book offers nothing new, you didn't read the book. That's absolutely 100% clear. But let's talk about it tonight. Let's get the panel on. Let's open up for discussion. I'll watch the chat. We'll see if we can get somebody on screen to ask, why didn't Chris answer this? Why didn't Chris answer that? Why, DA, did you soft pedal and not ask him this question? We'll talk about all those questions and whether or not this book is going to unite or divide the true crime community in the Idaho 4 story in particular. All right, let's get the panel on stage and let's get going. Robin and one both. That's it. That's the entirety of the panel tonight. And what's great is look at the framing. We got chat with frame it's actually great framing. I love it.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Oh, living a dream here, having a good day today. Hope everyone out there is as well. How about you?
I'm super excited. By the way, you probably can't see in this lighting, but I got brand new merchandise in the mail today. Nice. I got my new hat. I got a new hoodie with my new logo
like a new
on
hat.
It. Yeah, it's but the lighting is kind of not so good. But anyways, for what it's worth, we were checking out quality control on our merchandise before we put it up on the store for people to buy. And plus, I wanted to be able to have something new to wear to CrimeCon, which is coming up very shortly. So it's great to see you guys.
Yeah.
Anything new? I know you've got a monologue prepared for tonight.
I do.
Anything exciting happening?
I do. So I was outside last night. Usually after the show, I go outside with my wife and we chat and we have a cigar or whatnot, and usually my dog's like running around. I have a German Shepherd, and of course he seemed to come across a rabbit. And usually he's chasing a rabbit, and he doesn't get it. But we heard like a weird scream, like a screech.
Oh, no.
And he got it. He got the rabbit.
That sucks.
It was still alive. I kept him away, but then I went outside like in the middle of the night. And I brought him out to go to the bathroom, and the rabbit was gone. But I can't see how the rabbit could possibly
have survived it.
Because you know how dog. I mean, my dog knows. He knows how to. If to me he's a big goof. He's a big goofball, but he knows how to bite hard. So I felt kind of bad.
Yeah. You're bringing back trauma, man. I've seen some things that I wished I could unsee. Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
other than that, I guess I'll get into the monologue. I just want to say, I'll get into it. And by the way,
And real quick before
Yeah.
you get into the monologue, I do see. I'm going to pay attention to the chat. I know that you're asking about Logan. I'll answer that. I know you're asking about the interview. I'll
Yeah.
answer that. Let's get through the monologue, and then
Okay.
I'll answer those questions.
All right. Is it good to be alive in the den on a Thursday night, right? Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday.
it's Thursday.
Yeah.
And yes,
Jackson,
it is.
Juliana, and my beautiful wife. Love you guys always. And congratulations on being a mod. I had no decision in it.
No, you
All right,
didn't.
here
Actually, we made that decision without you. Yeah, that's
I
true.
know. Some cases don't collapse under doubt. They tighten. They get cleaner, simpler, easier to understand. A suspect, a narrative, a resolution, and then a plea. Case closed. That's what we're told. But every once in a while, a case does the opposite. It fractures. Not publicly, not all at once, but quietly, inside the details, inside the reports, inside the timelines, inside the evidence no one ever had to defend in court. Because this case, the murders of 4 University of Idaho students, never made it to trial. It ended in a plea. And according to Christopher Whitcomb, that might be exactly why the truth is still out of reach. Because what you're about to hear, it's not just a story, it's a file, a massive one. Police reports, body camera footage, witness statements, forensic analysis, unfiltered, unchallenged, and in many cases, unanswered. As laid out in Broken Plea, this isn't about proving innocence. It's about exposing uncertainty. Because inside this document, we're told something unsettling from the very beginning. Justice is a moving target. And once you understand that, everything starts to shift. Because this case wasn't built in a courtroom. It was built in fragments. A witness who heard one thing and later said another. A timeline that feels precise until you actually follow it. Evidence that sounds definitive until you examine how it was collected, how it was handled, and what might be missing. Even the very first moments, the first officer on scene, the first interpretation of what happened inside that house may not be what we've been led to believe. Small details, small inconsistencies, but as this document suggests, small errors at the beginning. Don't stay small, they grow, they compound, they reshape everything that comes after, and then there's the plea. No cross-examination, no full presentation of evidence, no defense dismantling the prosecution's case piece by piece. Just a series of questions and one answer over and over again. Guilty. Which raises a question most people don't want to sit with. Did we get the truth or did we get an ending? Because according to Whitcomb's analysis of the file, there are still gaps, unresolved issues with DNA, conflicting witness recollections, questions about timelines, movements, and what actually happened inside that house in those critical minutes. And maybe most unsettling of all, the possibility that once that plea was entered, those questions were never forced into the light. So tonight, we're not here to rewrite the case. We're here to reopen the conversation, to go back into the document, to slow it down, to separate what's claimed from what's actually supported. Because if justice really is a moving target, then we have to ask, are we standing where it landed or where it was pointed? 4 victims, 1 conviction, and a file that suggests we may still be missing something. This is Devil's Advocates. And with that, live from New York, it's Thursday night.
All right. Thank you so much for kicking that off for us. I didn't even put you on full screen like I normally do. Shame on me. I usually,
Okay.
I usually get you all full screen on that kind of thing. And I was taking care of. So let me talk about a couple of things real quick. A quick question was asked about whether or not we're going to play clips from, or I think the question was asked, are you going to play more of the interview? You did see the entirety of the interview. I didn't hold anything back. And not only did I play the entirety of the 2-hour interview I had with Christopher Whitcomb, but I also we had 2 hours additional live time with him with our panel, and you saw the whole thing of that. So now I certainly can cue it up. It's recorded and just the background. So if you had a moment you wanted to rewatch and we did good on the bookmarking, we can maybe find a moment. So it's certainly not out of the possibility, but I wasn't planning on playing the interview over again here. So anyway, so that's the answer to that. They answered about why Logan from Bronx Tales is no longer here. We said this in the early stages. Keep in mind, one of the things that we've learned about a panel is I try to put together this idea for this panel with different experts and whatever is it might have been a mistake having other YouTubers with their own channels, part of a regular panel, because they have their own channels to take care of. So Logan, who has a full-time job and a channel to take care of, and she was making guest appearances on Dago's show, and she's making nightly appearances on my show. It got to be a bit too much for her. She couldn't maintain all of that, and I don't blame her. And again, she's got to take care of her own channel first. So something had to give. And it was one of those situations where we politely said, look, if focus on your own channel first. We're going to miss her. We missed Logan on the show. I think she was a nice fit for the show. But I don't blame her when she got busy that something has to give. And my nightly show was a thing that probably was more, I had to go out of all the things so that she could go long if she wanted to and not have to worry about wrapping up for my show. So there's no hard feelings, in my opinion, between Logan and us. She didn't get kicked off the show. It was just a matter of she's a YouTuber with her own channel. Dago, same thing. Dago was starting to get some pushback from his family about, dude, you stream 8 hours a day, and then you go on now with Lee and DA every single night for another. Like, how about their family? And so he also backed out a little bit. And so, yeah, it might get confusing for some people if you see Dago going at a time instead of with us. He's still doing his own. One thing you can't stop Dago from doing is streaming for like 8 hours at a time. He does that regardless of whether he's on our show or not. So sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. We also gave him, the latitude to say, hey, look, if your family needs to spend more time with you, go spend time with your family. So those are what's happening for those who think that. And by the way, JJ, same kind of thing. JJ was on a regular basis, but then as he started getting into music season, he's got gigs coming up on the weekend, his availability. So none of this, I just want to make sure we clear that for those who are curious. Nobody's getting kicked off the show. Nobody's got fired. Nobody's in bad graces. These other people who have other things, their life happens. I would like to say, Captain 11 has a life too as well. And his schedule keeps rotating all the time. And he doesn't get on here all the time. So It's just the nature of the game. Yeah. In fact, the last thing I'll say about that is the whole panel idea was if we had a few panelists, then in any given night, somebody could be missing and we still have a show. And it's not just me. Because one thing I found is I'm not so good all by myself. I need a partner. So I had people on the show. And so that's the idea. If we have 4 or 5 panelists, then on any given night, I got 3 of us at least. And that's the idea. So thanks for asking those questions. There's a link that I put out a little bit ago. I'll post it again. By the way, I had a video. It's part of the first in a 10-part series I'm planning on doing on the book, Broken Plea, with my thoughts and highlights of the book. If you aren't getting the book, or if you have to wait for the book still, you can get the heartbeat of the book through watching my 10-part series. I'm designing it so that each part is about 20 to 30 minutes. They're just short little things. They'll be chained together. So once all 10 are out, you can kind of just watch them all in a row, 30 minutes, 20 minutes here and there, and go through them all if you want. Check it out if you haven't done so. It'd really be great for us if you could check that out. If you haven't watched the 4-hour interview, and by the way, Chris is doing the rounds. So he's gone on with the Custody Queens. He's gone on with Birdie Bombshells. He's gone on with, I feel like there's another one. Did he go on another show? I know Custody Queen. He did Custody Queens and Birdie on the same day. I think it was like 8 hours of streaming he did that day with 2 different YouTubers. Yeah. So he's kind of making the rounds. There's others that may be getting lined up to have him on. But here's what we're seeing, and here's what the whole statement of tonight's show is. Is his book dividing the YouTube community? And I don't want to name names in particular. I really don't want to name names. I feel like, how do I say this? So certain YouTubers are starting to basically criticize Chris, right? Why didn't he say this in the book? Why didn't he ever ask this question? Why does he just blow off this? Why is he so pro law enforcement? Why does he say things like, I think Moscow Police Department did an outstanding job, or I have a lot of respect for Bill Thompson, when pretty much the true crime community who's been watching Idaho 4, at least the ones that watch our channels, don't think Bill Thompson did a terribly good job and don't think Moscow Police Department department handled it right. So it didn't sit well. And I told Chris when it happened, I said, that part of the interview is not going to sit well. The community is going to be critical of you when you say, hey, they did everything right. And this is the part that I tried to tell you early on. You need to think. You need to be smart. That book is not for people who aren't thinkers. And why I say that is this.
Right.
Some of you noticed what you thought was hypocrisy or a double standard. He says he's got great respect for law enforcement and they did a bang up job. And then his book points out all the things that they fucked up. Yes.
Exactly.
Listen.
Right.
Listen.
Yep.
Right.
He can't come out and shit all over law enforcement and shit all over his colleagues and still be having access to the inside and all these kind of things. So what do you expect the man to do? He has to walk a very fine line between saying, look, for the most part, these are great people who did a great job and they work really hard. And that's true. For the most part, they are probably very good people but were there mistakes made? Yes, that's what the book points out, the mistakes that were made. So just listen. Instead of being so critical, maybe listen and understand the position that he's in. Go ahead.
Right. And I've said it a few times and I'll keep saying it on every show. Look, you guys you're able to make up your own opinion, read it for what you want, but I'll keep saying it every night. This man has extensive FBI background. He was involved in ridiculous amount of high profile stuff. He's also this isn't his first book. I think this is book number 6, I believe he said.
Yeah,
he's
I
also
think so,
he's also a journalist and worked for GQ and I think one of the news networks. He's done a bunch of stuff. So he has a lot of different perspectives that he can put into it.
What is this?
Why would he I was just going to say, why would he write the book? Why would he actually write the book? If he thought, and he actually said it, he has said it, not in this way, but he leads into, in the interview, if you watch closely, Lee very carefully, he gives a question and he says, I think you asked, like, what was the moment that made you want to, that sparked your interest or however you said it. And he basically said, Lee spelled out how he was in the courtroom for the plea hearing. Okay. And, I was watching at home, we were all watching. Mm-hmm. And for most of us, we know what a plea hearing is. So we knew that Koberger was going to say he was guilty, right? We knew that. What we didn't know, that Koberger was not going to have to say anything or any detail of the crime.
Right.
That was surprising to me. And the big thing was Bill Thompson standing up there and saying, we can't place him at the house. And we can't even we don't even, we're not even sure that it's his DNA. Like all this like wacky stuff that he said. And what did Chris say? That when Bill Thompson made, that string of statements there, that's what sparked him. Something's not right here. Something is off.
Right.
He's not saying that Bill Thompson is corrupt or this or that. He's just saying something is not right. And that's what made him look at it. And this is what he's telling you. And that was his interest to write the book. So now he wrote the book and he has access to lots of stuff that we don't have access to. And he's putting it, he's giving it to you. He's not going to say, I think Dylan is guilty because she lied in the interview and she went up to see. You have to tear it apart yourself.
Right.
It's
and
for
you have,
us.
and you,
He's,
right. And
right.
He clearly has a problem with what happened, or he went and wrote a book called
Right.
Broken Plea, talking about all
Right.
the things that went wrong here, and it doesn't make sense. So if he's the guilter you think he is, and people are hanging on him saying things like, well, we have to accept that he said he did it, right? Before I get too far, I want to answer Kathy Indie Zone's
Sure.
thing, because we sometimes we go too long letting something pin for forever, and it gets unpinned because we just don't ever address it. Mainstream media, Kevin Fixler, Idaho Statesman, picked up the story on the chain of custody of the Sheath problems based on what's transpired recently.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding what you're saying is the Idaho Statesman is actually taking the new statement, the new evidence presented in Broken Plea to say, hey, how come we didn't know about the chain of custody problem if that's what you're saying, that's a big deal. And remember, That detail about the chain of custody didn't come out until very late. It came out weeks before Brian Koberger pled guilty. And explain that to me. Explain to me why weeks before they're seating the jury, it comes out that the primary piece of evidence, the number one piece of evidence that would put a jury thinking he's guilty, DNA at the house, the chain of custody was broken. It would have never stood up under trial. So why the hell do you plead guilty? Like, the primary piece of evidence is now may not even be admitted in court. And in fact, I don't think it was ever going to be admitted in court. I think they knew they had a problem with it a long time.
Yeah.
But,
and we're going to keep, and we'll keep hitting that every night. We'll keep bringing that up and saying it, because until some people, they don't understand, I think, the magnitude of what that is. It doesn't matter. Even if you had a gallon of whatever, BK's blood, his hair, his fingerprints, throw it all in a bucket, throw it all in a mixture, and throw it on a knife sheath. It's useless. When
all right,
break a
let's
chain
do
of
this.
custody.
Yeah, right. I agree. Here's the thing. I see a lot of great questions, and I don't want to miss this opportunity, because if we go long on things, we're not going to get to these questions. I was going to comment on that one. That's okay. But throw a pinned up question. There's a lot of really good questions. I need my mods to throw me a pinned up. And I know when you got 3 mods, by the way, everybody's pinning and unpinning each other, so that can be a pain in the ass. But if we can get something pinned up real quick. Okay. Vapor Tales says, that's right. There's a problem I have is, that's right. There is the problem I have is that he keeps saying, look for yourself, but we cannot get access and see all of the things that he has seen. Yes, and no. Here's what I'm going to say about this. Gosh, how do I say this? I have to be super careful. I will tell you this. I'm seeing things. I've had some weird people contact me in the past few weeks. I've got people who claim to be insiders who are leaking stuff to me. I'm seeing stuff. I'm not talking about Christopher Whitcomb. Before Christopher Whitcomb's book came out, I had somebody giving me, for example, let me tell you one thing. I'm not going to show you because I'm kind of a receipts guy. Let me show you something that I got. I got told that, somebody who works with law enforcement and works with the feds, who got just curious about the case and started looking at it. They had a forensic specialist who, when he heard Dr. Turvey's name as the forensic pathologist that was brought in for the defense, he said, "Oh, I used to work with, Dr. Turvey. Let me look into that." And they got actual autopsy stuff through their channels. And they actually had students work on a report on how the victims died, how long each one of them suffered, how long it took for the heart to stop beating, how much their pain was, and how long the time. And it was details that was crazy. Now, I don't show it to you because I can't prove definitively 100% that was from a real forensics lab. But I have pretty good reasons to believe that it was from a real forensics lab, and other forensic labs are looking at this data. And where I go with that is people are working on this shit behind the scenes, and that shit's going to start leaking out into the public. And so when we say, look, it's more like keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open because shit's going to start coming out. And I think there's going to be more bombshells to come. Search his name. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. When you're done there, I'll go ahead.
All right. So the Dadgum Truth says, search his name. Numerous interviews about other topics spread out for years. Many of his this past year seems solid. I'm skeptical as fuck, but currently I'm looking or holding my jump to conclusions on him. Look, let me tell you another thing. For those who don't know, Christopher Whitcomb does have a past that might make people feel a certain negativity about him. He's been around the block. He's been in multiple engagements in war type situations. He was a sniper at Ruby Ridge, and some believe he was one of the snipers that may have shot, Weaver's wife, but we don't know for sure. There's been documentaries. He's been involved in Waco. He was a sniper at Waco and the whole compound that that burned down. This guy's seen things. He's been places. So there are people in the true crime community that are going to use his past and where he's been to cast shade on him. This guy's a horrible person. He's probably done horrible things. He's been involved in some of the biggest conspiracy theories of our nation's history, or at least in true crime. And so take it for what it is. The guy has been there. He's seen their things. He knows people. So I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm not going to make any opinions about whether or not he was or wasn't the sniper that shot somebody at Waco or Ruby Ridge or whatever. That's not for me. He is, by the way, he mentioned it on our show. He's in one of the documentaries. I think it was called like an American Apocalypse or whatever about the Waco situation. He's in that documentary, interviewed in that thing. So anyways, yeah, keep your mind open for what it does tell you is the same thing we told you. This guy has credentials. This guy does know people. And here's the bottom line on that. When Christopher Whitcomb tells you, I've seen the autopsy photos and the unredacted crime scene photos, you can be assured he saw those. He knows the right people to have seen those. And again, right now he's just telling you what he's seen because they're not going to provide pictures in there. They're not going to, but don't be surprised if those pictures end up getting leaked because people are getting more and more antsy and that kind of stuff just breaks containment eventually. Like it's already being talked about. Books are being written about it. It's coming out. I can feel it. So anyways.
Yep. And one thing I want people to also keep in mind, and Chris has said this, I've probably heard this 2 or 3 times now. When he was researching for this book, he didn't watch YouTube. He didn't learn about these things from YouTube. So I know there are people who are like, well, if he has, unredacted videos and so forth and so on, but we have redacted stuff, and he has no idea really what MPD or ISP or anybody else has done. He doesn't know what we have. It's not like he's been in contact with a bunch of YouTubers and having them help him research or anything like that. So you have to keep that in mind, that he doesn't have everything that we have as a collective community. So when he was pressed, not only on our show, but on a couple other people's shows about that fact, he was, he doesn't really know what to say necessarily because he's not privy to some of the stuff that we have. So
I got
it's
two
not
questions.
like we can sit down and compare two things.
Yeah.
So
I want to, after this comment, I want to pin Lenny Moe's. So if you guys can pin after this one, pin Lenny Moe's comment about how he didn't know that we had unredacted videos or whatever. All right. Can you have him explain why he keeps pushing the black SUV and all day people are debunking it? So look, I'm as aware as you are. And I'm not swinging off of Christopher Whitcomb's nutsack and just going to say that everything he says isn't without criticism. I immediately said, man, he's pushing the black SUV hard. Like he spends a lot of time and he wanted to talk about it. He's talked about it on multiple shows. So one should be skeptical. Does he have an agenda? Why does he? So there's 2 things that could be happening. This is why I tell you this is a cerebral moment for you guys. He's either pushing it because he knows we missed something and he wants us paying attention to it. That's one thing. And that's the good guy perspective. He knows we missed something. So he's trying to draw your attention to it. Or he's trying to misdirect us from something else when that isn't where we should be looking and try to send us the other way. And that's he's the bad guy narrative. This is why it's dividing people, because what people can tell is Christopher seems to have a very obsession, if you will, about the black SUV. And some of you out there think you already know everything there needs to know about the black SUV. I will only tell you this: just keep an open mind. And also one more thing about that. Christopher, if he's telling the truth, that he doesn't watch a lot of YouTubers and didn't want to hear what we are all saying in this community and wrote the book with a fresh, open mind, he may not have dismissed things yet that all of us dismissed because he may not have seen all the same things. Give him a break. He can be wrong about some things as well. So maybe when he saw something, like, for example, the 17-minute phone call with Jack DeCour, if he sees that and go, well, how the fuck do you not think Jack DeCour did that he's lying about the some of us may have dismissed that. Some of us may not have dismissed it. But for him, it's brand new. So if he writes in his book what his thoughts are, and look, most of the book is not his thoughts. Most of the book is just him pointing out areas of inquiry. We should be concerned about the 17-minute call. We should be concerned about the blonde hair on the floor or in the clutch of Ethan's hand. We should be concerned about why a car like the SUV seems to come back and park out there and why a backpack gets... we should be asking those questions. That's all he's saying. He's not even telling you what it means. He's just saying we should be asking those questions.
Yeah. And that was a big thing that that thing about Jack D, that 17-minute call, the big bombshell there is that Jack called Kaylee. It wasn't Kaylee calling Jack. That changes things.
Yeah. So
Right.
Lenny Moe, I hope Lenny Moe is asking this question because of what happened in the interview. There was a moment in the interview where Chris said to me, there's a body cam footage. And what he said, when I didn't catch it the first time, this is very careful. What he said was, there are still images from Officer Nunez's body worn camera where you can see Ethan's where he was on the bed and there was hair and there's blood on the floor and hair and whatever.
Right.
And he said, you've seen that, right? When he asked the question, I thought he was asking if I had seen the body worn camera footage of Nunez walking into the room. And I said, no, I don't think I've seen that. What he really said was the still images. We have seen the still images. I even pulled it up on screen the other night and showed you the still image he's talking about with the clump of hair on the floor and the blood and on the, so that's why he wasn't saying, oh, you don't have access to that photo. He wasn't referring to the unredacted stuff. He knows we haven't seen the unredacted stuff. Now, I don't know, Lenny Moe, if you caught something else that he thinks we've seen that we haven't seen. And think about this. He also, because all he is seeing is unredacted stuff, it's probably hard for him to remember what is out there in the public and what's not. So when we say, hey, we've got all this muted audio, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about because his files were not muted. Now, think about the time that's required. Do you expect him to watch all of the unmuted stuff and then go back to watch all the muted stuff and then keep in his mind what stuff they muted with? Like that, he doesn't have time to do that. He just went straight to the unmuted stuff and is telling you what he heard. So I don't know if that answers your question, and I don't know if it sounds too apologetic, like I'm defending Chris. But I don't think I don't know that he thought that we had access to unredacted stuff.
So we got an answer to this. How did we not know Ethan had hair in his hand? Okay, so there is. I don't have the number. There is a document that is out there for public that does refer to the hair that Ethan had in his hand, but what they refer to it as from their testing, it's listed as debris. Why was it listed as debris? And this is the fuckery. The same way that they played with words in the PCA about like BK's phone being turned off and the suspect vehicle and a vehicle that's consistent. They played games with it. They played games with words and they made you and the public believe a certain thing. It's not debris. It's they know exactly. They know. I'm not saying they know who it is. Maybe they do know. You know, they know that there's hair there. But why did they list it as debris? Well, what is the narrative? What is the narrative that they have? The narrative is that BK did, for whatever the motive, right? BK did this, right? In about 3 or 4 minutes and whatever their time period that they narrowed it down to. There's a problem there. If they're saying that BK is the lone killer, right? And now they're coming forward with a piece of evidence that shows that there is actual hair that does not match BK. If you think that wasn't, you think that him or Manny and Kaylee, because there's some hair that they had as well. You think that they didn't test that hair? They most definitely tested it. But you know what? It doesn't match BK, and that's why it was kind of suppressed and
I want to address that too, because I want to address the hair thing. This is what kind of irritates me a little bit. And look, I don't want to shit on a YouTuber, so I'm not going to mention the YouTuber's name. But there was a YouTuber that basically said, Chris told us nothing. That the document saying that there was debris in Ethan's hand has been out there for forever. And I'm like, you are so missing the point. You were so missing the point, because many people who saw the hair on the things assumed it was Ethan's hair, that he had been kind of scalped and his own hair was on the floor or whatever. That's what they assumed. What he told you definitively was not only was that not Ethan's hair, but they tested it for color and type. They knew that it was human hair. And they knew it was not Ethan's hair. And when they found out that it wasn't Ethan's hair or Koberger's hair, they listed it as debris. And so that's the part you're missing. So finding a report that says, "Oh, it talks about debris over here," that doesn't address. You're missing the entire point of that.
Exactly.
It wasn't the debris that was the problem. It was the fact that it was human hair ripped off of somebody's head that they just decided to dismiss as debris.
But Chris has seen. Yes, he said he did. He
Yes.
what?
Yeah,
You got to watch
Chris.
the interview.
Yes.
So I'm not
Yeah.
to attack you. I mean, I don't know if you saw the whole interview or not. So first off, we have it. I know. I'm sure Lee has it backstage or whatever. He showed the picture that we all can get that shows the blood, and it's like where Ethan kind of was laying, and there's some hair. Lee showed that. If you watch the interview,
Right.
Chris says clearly said, I have a photo from the autopsy, and he very specifically in that part of the interview he said Ethan's hand was clenched, and it's like, I guess, after he died, your hand kind of opens up a bit, or the muscles
Relaxes. Yeah. Mhm.
right?
Mm.
And he's still holding the hair, and he has the picture. Not just that he's seen it, he has it. He has the picture, but no, he has not sent it out because
And listen,
No.
here's the other.
he has right. He can't. There's some of the stuff he cannot show us.
Here's the other bombshell. Here's the other bombshell. Who discovered the problem with the hair was actually, from what I understood from his interview in his book, was Dr. Turvey. Dr. Turvey didn't come into this case until late. The discovery process was going on for a long time. Ann Taylor's team brought in Dr. Turvey very late in the game. He came in late, and he wanted to go look at the crime scene. He wanted, or the photos, and he wanted to go to the warehouse where everything was at. That's when Dr. Turvey, when he had access to the autopsy photos that showed hair in Ethan's hand, and he saw the crime scene photos that showed hair and clumps stuck to the bed frame and to the floor. Then he went
Right.
into the warehouse and he said, "What's this in the corner here?" And they're like, "Oh, it's the bed frame." They uncovered it, and the hair was still stuck to the bed frame. And
To the bed frame.
he told Ann Taylor, "You got a major fucking problem here." Like, he ripped out somebody's hair, and they just dismissed it as debris. That wasn't even realized until late in the game.
Yeah.
So again, all you people who
Right.
think that's, we all knew that from the beginning. My ass, I never heard nobody talking about the hair he ripped out of somebody's head, and it wasn't Brian Koberger's. It changes
Right.
everything.
It changes
So how do
everything.
you say
Right.
that book did nothing? That alone
Right.
opens up a can of whoop ass.
So now does that
Right.
say that BK wasn't involved or he wasn't there? No, it does not say that. But what it does say, as Lee always says, it didn't happen the way they told us it happened, and BK did not magically change his hair to to blonde. So
Yeah.
What do we?
Yeah.
What do you-
Didn't change color suddenly.
and by the way,
Yeah.
we hardly.
And it's not Murphy's. It's not
Here's the
Murphy's.
part. This is the part
I
that drives me
know.
nuts.
yeah,
We
it's
hardly
not
ever
Murphy.
talk the Murphy thing. Oh my God. Anyways, we hardly ever talk. We spend all this time talking about Ethan's hair. More shocking, perhaps even, is the hair ripped out by the roots that's dark
Yes.
and not Maddie or Kaylee's up in the upstairs bedroom.
Yes.
We don't
Right.
talk about that enough. There was another clump of hair, not blonde, not Koberger's, not either one of the victims, ripped out by the roots and had bloody
Right.
roots. And that should be a shocker for people. And I feel like we're
Right.
missing that. Like, people are missing.
We didn't
it's
know
not
about
just
that.
Ethan's hair. It's the other hair in the
No.
bed upstairs as well.
That's right. And to our knowledge,
Yeah.
that wasn't tested, but it may have been, and they may know who it belonged to, but they're not saying so. At least not yet.
Yeah.
So
And I know the people, like, some of the questions. I definitely, I've seen him answer some other people. He's been asked, do we know exactly when Ethan and Xana, when they were back at the house or not? And he said no one seems to know. I have questions about that too, because although we always say, and I do go by it, phones and iPads and all the stuff are not proof of life, absolutely, but it can give you info on possible theory, at least to go down a thread. So I don't know why we can't seem to be able to get Xana and Ethan's info of when they connected back to the router of the house. They do have it. The police, there's
Mhm.
documents that said that they
Right.
there's
I know.
there's so much testing. They're making such a big deal about possibly, and that is an accurate statement. A lot of people don't realize, unless you like turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone, or push a certain setting, a lot of times your phone will try to access a
Right.
Wi-Fi thing. You might not be able
Yeah.
to connect because you don't have the password, but it'll show that you tried to log.
Right.
So that is a
Yeah.
good thing to check. But Ethan and Xana do have access. They first off, they have access to the router, right? Kaylee paid for it, so whoever was there, that also, that's the same thing along with the getting the health data from the phone and stuff like that. But
And
I don't know why we can't get it.
we should be able to get it. But I want to make sure we stay on topic for tonight's theme. Is this going to divide the YouTube community? Because here's what I see happening. If your favorite YouTuber says, "Oh, that Chris Whitcomb is a piece of shit. He didn't write anything in the book that we didn't already know. He's just trying to," and he's talking about law enforcement like they did nothing wrong, whatever. And if your favorite YouTuber out there is saying that, then when I come out and tell you, listen to the devils in the details, you're going to be like, that DA, he's bought and sold by the FBI. Look at that. You can tell he's saying good things about the book. And it's going to divide the community. And that's the worst thing that we can do right now. Why can't we all be happy that there's some new piece of information we didn't know, new talking points that we didn't know, and re-examine, question Christopher Whitcomb, for fuck's sake. I don't care. Question the book. Right. Say, maybe he was like, why are you pushing this narrative so much? Why are you so, question him. But that's just it. Let's not all fight with each other and pick sides and divide and then say, well, that channel supports that book and we're not going to support that book. We're not going to have anything to do with it. Like, you'd be a moron to have covered this, in my opinion. I don't even like using that word. I don't like calling anybody morons. Right. It would be incorrect, in my opinion, for you to spend all your time studying this case and then ignore this book and to say, well, I'm not going to read that book. There's nothing in there for me. Man, if you're involved in this case and you don't read this book and you don't know the good parts and the bad parts of the book, you're not taking this seriously. Like, you need to understand what it says and what it doesn't say.
Right. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, go ahead, Robin.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we certainly got a lot more information out of this book than we did Bloom or Patterson's book.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
If you want to compare, there is no comparison, in my estimation, of Chris's book compared with theirs, because unlike them, Chris actually put in factual information in his book. Whereas those other two books, there was a lot of creative license taken. So.
Right.
Oh, no. He's
welcome, Dago from True Crime Cafe. Welcome to the show with your sex toy that you showed on camera.
Hello.
Hello.
I saw you were streaming earlier, so welcome to the show and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I went a little longer than I wanted to on that. I was in the midst of a conversation and I looked up and went, "Oh, okay, I'm done." So
it's all good.
It was long anyway.
Yeah, long, strong, and got to get the friction on.
I was reviewing the interview actually, and kind of talking about some of the same topics you were talking about, and then I was done, and I'm like, my wife and my son are watching some kind of weirdo anime cartoon. I'm like, I'm good. And I'm like,
you might have
to do, so here I am. I figured I'd stop by and say hi.
Well, while you're here, I want to ask you: have you seen the true crime community starting to divide over this book? Have you seen people that are treating him like he's the enemy, and some that are treating him like he's great? Yeah.
And I said, I'm glad I was having to some extremes the same conversation. And there's even people that I'm close to, and I thank God that we have the relationship we do, because we have almost completely opposing feelings about it. Okay, it's gonna divide, just as everything else does. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but for whatever reason, everything we've done in this, and I don't want to come in and take over the show, but I'm just giving my opinion. This is a good topic. It does divide, okay? I don't understand it, but it happens. So there's a lot of people that don't trust this. There's a lot of people that, how do we know that he has these documents? How do we know this, that, and everything else? And I've explained this probably 5 times today already. I don't believe, nor does quite a few of the people in my community, but some don't seem to think it makes a difference. That Chris would, and all due respect, that he wouldn't I do not believe that he would jeopardize his credibility, his career, his background, any of that, to come out and say something that he doesn't have a way to back up. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that. You can't make me believe that in the position that he's in. Now, I've had people say that, they don't believe any of this, that they, and I can't get with that. I do. Okay. But like we talked about the other night, and I was saying this again today too. Sorry. Again today too. I don't read this as a direct source. I don't read this as in,
Right.
okay, Dick and Jane run up the hill. Dick and
Right.
Jane run
Yeah.
down the hill. It's not that way. You have to read this, and then you
No.
read between the lines. I said this last
Right.
night here. I said it again today. That's the only way this book is understandable, in my opinion. And some people I feel don't want to trust it, because of what we've been through from day one, pretty much. And I understand, and I
Mhm.
fully respect everybody's opinion on this. You guys understand that. I understand why people have the issues they have with it. I don't. I don't have those same issues. I have my own set of issues. And like you said when I first came in here and was listening to you, you said something about, you're not swinging off of, Kristen that way. I get it. Neither am I. All I'm telling you is there's things in here that I do fully, truly understand and believe. And there's things that I do question, as we should always question everything. I do agree with that. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's,
And this
Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
This comment right here is
Yeah.
important. What's odd to me is that 2 months ago, I'm going to read some extra words. People were saying someone needs to step forward with the truth, or a whistleblower needs to step
Yes,
forward, and now
Joanne,
someone
yes.
does, and now this. You can't have it both ways.
and
And
that,
you're absolutely right. I wouldn't necessarily call Chris a whistleblower, but I have inside sources that are sounding like whistleblowers are probably on the horizon. I've got, because I think a lot of people aren't sitting right with what happened in this case. And really all this book is a very careful way of saying something stinks, and keep the pressure up, because the right people will talk if you poke the right bear. So,
And
And
he said
I
it.
really-
He said
yeah.
it. He said it. He said he didn't look to do it, but if he has to be the light that way, these are his words. He said if he has to be the lightning rod, and I'm sure he knew people were going to come after him and
Of
say
course.
he's lying and this and that. And,
Yeah.
and I listen, and I understand, and I get it. People are like, well, why the hell should I trust this guy? Why can't he's saying this is this, and he's seen this and that? Okay, show it. Show your receipts. Show the back. Like, we can't verify it. Why should I believe you? And you're not wrong to be skeptic. Ask your questions. But with this kind of thing, it's just with the way it is, you have to understand that the whole reason why he's able to have some of the info he has is because of the sources. And that's just the way it is. So you could just say, yeah, there's some people that are just going to say, oh, everything he put in here was a lie, blah, 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 if that's what you want to go by. But if you look very carefully, and he has said it a million times, he's not telling you, I think this person is guilty. I think this person did it. I think that person did it. He wants us to debate and figure it out. All he's doing is like, look, I have this picture that shows someone holding this, and I have a picture that shows this. Hey,
and
I don't know the answer,
this-
but you guys look at it. You guys debate.
Exactly.
You tell me.
Yes,
And
exactly.
this- This
Yeah, go ahead.
comment is great. The
Yes,
community
I was
needs to
gonna
learn how to
say
play the media game.
Yep.
This guy has to be palatable to them.
Yes.
That's how you start applying pressure. Thank you for that pin hug to you.
Bingo.
Right,
And
that's
that's exactly right, because
Yep.
if he comes out here and he comes out in a way that mainstream media is going to be able to rip apart and rip into, and go after his credibility and everything else. That does not help us at all.
Right.
So he is smart. This man is smart. So
Yeah,
no, I'm not saying that everything in that book may be correct, but there's a hell of a lot of it in there that we haven't seen before that I do believe is correct.
Right.
Yeah, and like I said, that was an extremely astute comment, because you
Yes.
need someone that can bridge the gap, who has experience
Right.
with media, where they know that they know how to handle themselves around media, and they've got the credentials for the media to be able to. Because look, the media is smart too. They've got to soft pedal a question where they can get him on camera and say, "Now, come on, Chris, are you really saying this?" And he's going to help bridge the gap for media to be able to start asking the questions. Because believe me, nobody's going to give a shit if they bring devil's advocates on CNN. They're going to be like, "Oh, fuck
Right.
that guy." They're not going to care. They need somebody with credentials that can open up the discussion. So this is the kind of guy that has credentials that can open the discussion and give permission to media to ask questions that they've been not given permission to ask. Like State of the Deep JJ, son of a bitch, says, "You guys are all crazy. You should never question a former CIA contractor." Yeah, JJ, I realize.
him.
Yeah. From the rafters.
Yeah.
Did we lose Dago?
Where'd
Did
Dago
he
go?
did he
He-
dump out
he
by
got-
accident, or
Yeah, I don't know.
he may have come in just to say hi, or maybe the family pulled
Yeah.
him away or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, if he's gone, then I'm going to do the reframing of, because this is not a kid's show. We'll put that back up, and we'll put
Yeah,
comments back up, and all that good stuff. Yeah.
I know some people ask, like, are there? Sure, there are plenty of other questions that we want to ask, and hopefully we get to. Remember, we had kind of a time constraint a bit, and the guy was nice enough to give us a bonus 2 hours. So we had a 2 hour interview, and then he came on after for another 2 hours, which was amazing. He has said he has all the access to many of like the text messages and all kinds of stuff, and he doesn't want to shame people either. There are questions I know I'd like to ask him a little bit more on Kaylee's, what he could answer on Kaylee's phone. We see Kaylee on her phone
Right.
all night. Is there anything, without kind of like, bashing Kaylee or attacking her, is there any insight or anything, of relevance that he could possibly tell us who
So
she's
I
on
wanna-
the phone with,
I don't know if she's talking about Christopher Whitcomb's book when she said, or he or she. I don't know who I don't know if Disney Form 4254 is male or female, but this comment, he backed nothing up. If that's in reference to Christopher Whitcomb, let me explain to you the part that I feel you're missing. He gave us a gift. So the hair is kind of he told us something that hasn't been released to the public. You think that he did. You're like, well, we all knew about the hair. No, you didn't know that the hair was still in Ethan's fist in autopsy, because nobody's seen the autopsy photos. No one's been told about the autopsy photos. Nobody knew until this book, in my opinion, that Ethan still had the hair in his fist, that it was still on the bed frame 2.5 years later when Turvey went to the thing. Those things were not known. Now, why is it
Right.
important for him? He doesn't have to back shit up. Here's what he even said this. You guys now have tools, go forth and do something with it. So here's what you do. Now you go and you file a public records request. Please show me the records that show that you identified the hair in his hand and how you identified it. If they come back and they tell you, we didn't identify it, we just listed it as debris, whatever, you've got them on the record, and you'll be like, look, can I get on the record? You saw hair in his hand and a clenched fist and you did nothing about it. Can I please get you on the record? And then it starts making them look bad. Even making them admit, oh yeah, we knew he had hair in his clenched fist, but we just decided that it was debris and ruled it off. Get them to put it in writing. We didn't even know that we have them put that in writing. Once they start putting that shit in writing, now they've got a real problem. How did you not?
Yeah.
How did you not test the DNA on the hair? And so we know to ask questions now that'll start putting pressure on them. We didn't even know the question was out there until he offered that up. Now we can ask the question and get formal answers.
Right.
I know you had this other thing pinned, but
I was going to read it, but it went away.
yeah, well, yeah.
So he can lead and guide the narrative. He is in control. We put the FBI back in control of the narrative. You've asked me. Well, Stephen Wolf, first of all, thank you for the comment. And I don't have any beef with you, and I'm not mad for you saying comments like that. I disagree, but I admit you have to, did you not see me ask him the question? There are going to be people who are going to say, you're a former FBI guy, once a Fed, always a Fed. Now you're just coming with the Fed's whitewashed version. I said that right to him. And his response was, well, you can think what you want. Like, I'm just going to put it out there and you do what you want. If you want to spin the narrative that I'm controlled FBI opposition and I'm giving you the whitewash version, whatever. But as he said, you read the book, it's not a whitewash. It's anything but a whitewash. So yes, and again, you can form those opinions and that's fine. We can talk about it.
Disney, we spoke about this a little while ago. I don't know if you were in the chat, but just to reiterate, yes, I know there is a document, not attacking you. We know about the document where they said that it's just debris. But that's the whole point. It's more, it's not just debris. So yes, I agree. I've seen the document. And did they compare it to Brian? Yes. And guess what? It's not Brian's hair. That's why they listed it as debris, because it doesn't go with their narrative. How would they put the narrative in the public eye? BK did this by himself in 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever the time is. It keeps changing. He did this by himself. He's a lone wolf, crazy incel assassin, right? But one of the victims is holding hair of probably, the perpetrator, and it doesn't match BK. Well, what does that tell you? If the hair doesn't match BK, well, where did the hair come from?
Yeah. And if I were, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but if I were Ann Taylor and this thing goes to trial, I would say, okay, prosecution, your statement is my client killed these 4 people by himself. Can you confirm that there was hair in the clenched fist of one of the victims? Can you confirm that hair was tested? Can you confirm that it wasn't Brian Koberger's hair? Can you explain to me how he ripped somebody's hair out of their head and it wasn't Brian Koberger, and yet Brian Koberger did it alone? And the jury, that's going to sit with the jury. The jury's going to be like, well, wait a minute. He ripped somebody's hair off their head and it's not Brian Koberger, but yet the story is he did it by himself. Any jury with a decent lawyer is hearing a decent defense attorney present this is going to be like, I got some fucking problems with your story. Your story doesn't make sense. In fact, and here's the part that everybody's missing. It's not just that she could shed doubt on Brian Koberger doing it alone, but you can't place Brian Koberger at the house. People are missing. You can't place Brian Koberger at the house. All you've got is evidence of other people, hair from other people, unknown DNA from other people. You've got nothing on Brian Koberger. You think you got DNA from Brian Koberger, and okay, set that aside. You got that knife sheath, but
that's not true. We know that his phone pinged off the tower, which is like a
that services the house
10-mile radius or whatever,
like 30,000 other people within 13-mile radius. Yeah. Anyways, a jury. I don't think that would have played well with the jury, and I think they would have been a deep shit at trial. So then you have to ask yourself, well, then what happened? And that's kind of the gist of my video that I made today. What happened? That's the gist of my video today, the one that's part 1 of my series. How did the trial not happen when what we discovered weeks before trial was that the primary piece of evidence, the knife sheath, had a broken chain of custody that came into the lab originally with no evidence tag. After the fact, they placed an evidence tag on it and faked all the signatures on it. That right there shoots that piece of evidence. That's gone. And that is their only piece of DNA evidence on Koberger. It's the only one. The knife sheath is the only thing they even remotely suggested had Koberger's DNA on it, and the chain of custody was busted. And everyone that signed that tag or their names on that tag and didn't speak up and say, I didn't actually sign that tag, that's not my signature, they didn't fess up, all their credibility is shot. They can't testify in that case. Their credibility is shot. They're a liar. Because even if you want to say, oh, just the person that faked the evidence tag. No, all the other motherfuckers that are listed on there that allowed somebody to forge their name and didn't say, hey, that's not my signature. Their credibility just went.
And that shit is a big deal, because that stuff we have people know that I work with in NYPD that once you get that Giglio thing, once that's labeled on you, you can't testify in any case. Yeah, it's a big deal.
And
I want to talk about this comment because
go ahead.
This just proves it, at least with this thing. If you want to argue other things, fine and dandy, but he's not going to put this out there about what Nunes said, because if it's false, no matter
he'll
who
get
it
sued.
is,
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you. Yes. So you're not going to get an author. Trust me, I know, because I don't want to get sued either as an author. So I know. And also, you're not going to get a publishing house to put out stuff that is false, because a publishing house may have a legal team, but they're still not going to want to spend money for that very expensive legal team to go to bat for them if they don't have to. So they are very, very careful, and most authors, I say most, are very, very careful about the things that they put out, especially when you are speaking about someone specific, like an officer of the law. And keep in mind, this is a fellow officer of the law that Chris is speaking about. So just whatever else you want to discount or whatever, but at least with this thing, and we know that there's no way that Ethan could have, committed suicide. That's so we know that's not true. So, but I just wanted to bring this comment up. So.
And the good news for Christopher Whitcomb, in my opinion, is in case you didn't get the impression listening to him on his interview with us, he was surrounded by a lot of very expensive guitars in a very nice home. He listed multiple homes that he owns and places that he owns in other countries and shit like that. The guy's got money. So if somebody sues him, as he would say, they better pack a lunch, because he's got money to fight them. Unlike me, like if they sued my ass, I might be in trouble because they could just out money me. They're probably not going to out money Christopher Whitcomb. So yeah, there's that.
In Disney, your comment here, I'm not against with what you're saying here, and to be honest, this is a big part of what this channel is based on, and Lee himself, we back by receipts. What you have to understand is there's certain things that he's not able to show, like the autopsy photo of Ethan holding the hair, but there are stuff that he is able to point out, as Lee's video today that he showed in the mini part in the the series that he's doing. That evidence bag with the sheath, with the clearly the same person signed all those signatures. The handwriting looks awfully similar to me. That is a big deal, and it's there to see. Now we've had access to that. That is not per se something brand new that we haven't seen before, about the knife sheath, but he's pointing it out in a different kind of way, and how he spelled it out. I agree with him too. I think that would have, without the knife sheath, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing in this case.
Right.
Yeah. And they don't have the knife. In my argument, they don't have the knife sheath because the chain of custody is busted, and that would never hold up a trial. But here's the thing, and this is the part that everybody got robbed in America, is that there's not going to be a trial. And even Hitler stated in the book, there's a quote from Hitler. We could have got it from somewhere else because it's just a quote from Hitler, so it's out there on the internet. You understand that by accepting this plea, that the state no longer has to prove anything. And Koberger said, yes, they no longer have to prove any of the shit. They could not have proved it. And if it had gone to trial, they could not have proved Brian Koberger was there. I am 100% convinced of it.
Yeah.
And Brian Koberger was reminded at the plea. You understand that by accepting a plea or pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove anything that they said was true. That's how I'm adding an extra word, but that's what he said, basically. They no longer have to prove any single thing that they've said for 3 years is true. If you accept the deal, you understand that, right? And he's like, yes. So there you go. You got fucked, right? Everybody in the country got fucked because they literally said everything that they lied to everybody about is they just got to pass. They can lie all day long and every day and twice on Sunday, and it doesn't matter because you pled guilty. And you must understand that once you plead guilty, they no longer have to prove that they could have proved anything that they said about you. So is there any way that way to walk back the narrative when we now know the chain of custody was tampered with? No. And that's exactly Don Katz. That's exactly the point.
Right.
The whole point of the state no longer has to prove anything is why he's screwed. Now, look, ultimately there's still post-conviction relief out there, right? So Brian Koberger could say, I had ineffective counsel. Ann Taylor missed something 3 weeks before trial. She didn't catch the broken chain of custody. Had I known about the broken chain of custody, maybe I wouldn't have decided to throw the towel in. My attorney didn't advise me on what that really means. And so therefore, I want this relooked at. And that's a possibility. He can say, how did my attorney not point out to me that this busted their entire case? So yeah, it's a good question.
Welcome back.
Yeah, my power went.
Oh, your power
Oh,
went out.
boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
Yeah, my power went out. It's been storming like crazy since for about 3-4 hours. So,
Oh wow.
Welcome back.
yep. Hello. Look, it's my night off, and I'm still here. Nothing else to do tonight. Like I said, my wife's watching. My kid and my wife are watching some weird stuff on TV. So,
Kathy's Indie Zone says,
Hey,
well, we
Kathy.
have to look at Hunter versus us, or US. Hunter versus US. Is that US as in case or as in
Yeah.
us? There
Yeah,
may be
United
Yeah.
States.
okay. So
Yeah.
Hunter versus the United States may be grounds for him to appeal. Oh, is this the case?
That
that's
case,
yes.
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 Yeah, right. It's a SCOTUS appellate waiver case awaiting a rule. Yes.
Yeah, you
we've
have
been
the
kind of
info
keeping an eye on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Scott,
So what you-
Scottish case, yes.
Yeah, what she's talking about, for those who don't know, is that someone, the case Hunter versus the U.S., has challenged the practice that we have of saying you waive your rights to appeal. It may be a constitutional violation for anybody to waive what's a right. If it's a right, you can't waive your rights. So somebody challenged the whole plea deals that come with the you plead guilty and you waive all rights to appeal. And someone says, well, is that right? Can a person waive their right to appeal? And so the Supreme Court is, from what I understand, is still reviewing and may possibly, depending on how that goes, rule that maybe people can't waive their right to appeal. That you can't ask people to accept a plea deal and waive all rights to appeal. That's an inherent right that we all have, and you can't waive a right that we all have. So.
Yeah, and that would be
Just-
huge. That would have huge ramifications.
Has anybody looked at the status of that recently to see if there's an update?
No.
All right,
I
let me
think
see if I can.
Kathy from Kathy's Indie Zone has been following it pretty close, but
Yeah. Yeah, she covers it, right? She covers it on
Yeah.
her channel.
Yeah,
She does
she-
an excellent job
Yeah.
when she
Yeah,
goes
she
through it. I love it.
Yep.
I just did a quick type, so I'll see if I can find the latest as of April
So Dago,
2026.
yeah, and Dago, you popped in a little late, so I don't know if you were aware. Someone, when we first started the stream, said that there's a statesman from Idaho that's looking about the chain of custody thing with the knife sheath.
oh, somebody from the Idaho Statesman, probably what's his name?
Yeah.
Flisk or Frick. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Fixler. There we go.
Fixler.
Yeah, Fixler.
Yeah.
Fixler. Yeah.
Thanks. You got me
Now, keep
halfway
in
there,
mind-
Lee.
I did a quick search at, AI can be wrong. Here's the answer that I got about the latest update. This is supposed to be the latest update on that Supreme Court case, Hunter versus U.S. As of April 2026, it says the Supreme Court has heard oral arguments on March 3rd of 2026. That means the case has been fully submitted and it's no longer in a briefing or argument phase. No decision has been made yet. Most analysts expect a decision by late June of 2026. So.
Yeah. All right. I don't see anything new with Fixler on YouTube, but I'm not. We won't. It'll probably be something. I'll be curious to see. I said this before. Whether people take this or don't take this, I think this is going to open doors. This is going to something, and I'm with Lee on this. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
There's something coming down the pike. Period. Okay, that's just how I see it. So, is it opening the door for some whistleblowing? We don't know, but it sure as hell could. Okay,
Yeah.
when somebody sees, and usually this is how this goes, folks. From what I've seen,
Right.
if you see somebody come forward that has the bravery, the gumption, the whatever the hell you want to call it, to make a
Mhm.
statement or to do something in regards to calling this out. Guess what usually happens? Somebody starts playing follow the leader. Okay.
Right,
That's all it takes is one.
right.
So we'll see if this has that effect.
Yeah,
Um,
oftentimes it look, this is I mean, I think maybe this is a bad analogy, but you remember the Me Too movement. It
of
usually
course,
takes
yeah,
it takes somebody to step forward and be the first brave one, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, where were all you people back in the day? Like everyone stays quiet until
exactly.
somebody gives them the support that I'm not the only one who's going to say something about it. So now
And
when somebody
Right.
says
yeah,
something about it, somebody else says something about it, and then somebody else says something about it, and then you got a big problem on your hands.
and I
And
tell you,
this
it's
is
too
what I
bad.
think we're
It's too bad we can't get John Ray to like help with something like that, because that guy is relentless, and if
and I
he's able to go against the corruption from Suffolk County and all that nonsense, which he's still doing.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think different people are going to affect Chris different ways and different okay, for instance, there was a great interview here. Okay, Birdie did his version of his. There was one with the custody queens. Lana's doing one Sunday with him, which I'm definitely looking forward to that one too.
She did. Okay, I was wondering if she was going to go with him. Is she
Yeah.
going with him?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're doing it
fantastic.
Sunday. So, and like I said, different people are going to react differently with Chris. It's going to be, ours or yours was one type of way and everything. And it's going to keep a little bit more and more every time, I think, to where he gets comfortable with this and other things are going to be seen. And people see this. There's 15 different interviews with this guy and he's saying these things. Eventually it's going to catch on somewhere. Somebody else is going to do this. So we'll see.
I'm really concerned. I mean, I watched bits and pieces of the Custody Queens, bits and pieces of Birdie's. I haven't watched the full
Same
things.
here. Same
Um,
here.
Here's one of the things that drives me nuts. I saw several people say, oh, Lana's going to shred the shit out of him. I really don't
No,
think
she's
Lana
not.
is that
No, she's
dumb.
not.
Like Lana's a smart cookie. She's not going to shoot herself in the foot and bring the guy
Not
on
at
and
all.
humiliate himself on camera. Like, come on. Like, but
He
maybe
doesn't
I'm
roll
wrong.
that way with this. No.
Right. And yet people are acting. This is what I took offense, because what they were implying was you softballed Chris, but wait till Lana gets a hold of him. She's not a pussy like you. She's going to ask him real questions. I'm like, well, I
Wow.
can't wait to see her interview. But if you think, like, did you not see me push back? I flat out asked him some very uncomfortable questions and I pushed
Mhm.
back, and it was his first interview. Like, we're not even at the point where he gets to be challenged a little later down the road. It's like, cut us a little slack.
Yeah,
I think we did really good with
You
the first
did
interview.
perfectly
We did.
Great
fine.
hours.
He did an
So,
we
excellent
did.
interview. Yeah.
We asked
Nobody
him. We
knew
asked him
what
some
to
stuff.
expect with this. So yeah,
Right.
you don't
And
discount yourself, bud.
yeah.
I found
And
what you were talking about. There's something backstage on it if you want to throw that up real fast.
what do you got? Let's see here.
I'm sure that Chris can handle himself against
Yes.
anyone
Oh,
with his
yeah.
background. I'm sure, but
Wrong
yeah.
one, Lee.
I know. I'm trying to get it, but I have to remove another asset before to
That's
pull it
okay.
up.
Yeah, so this is Kevin Fixler states a forensic expert for Brian Koberger's defense alleges that police in the Idaho 4 case mishandled the knife sheath found at the crime scene by failing to properly document
Wow,
its
there
chain
it
of
is.
custody. He claims the DNA evidence would have been excluded
Yes.
at trial. Bingo.
Wow.
There it
Right,
is.
and
There it
Knocking
is.
on the door. Bingo.
There
And
it
my
is.
favorite saying, I'm going to do it. This pisses people. Listen, what he just said is it never would have went to trial. That whole knife sheath would have been excluded at trial. This reporter is correct. That would have never been admitted into evidence. There would have been no DNA evidence, and therefore that's why Bill Thompson said we can't place Brian Koberger at the house, because there was no DNA
There was
evidence
no
that would have stood up. The chain
Bingo.
of custody was busted.
Because just
Yeah.
like you and I,
Right.
I was reviewing that part of the interview earlier with you and Chris, and you were talking exactly about that same thing, and everybody believed. Chris even said it. Many people believe that's Brian Koberger's DNA on that knife sheath. In all reality, no, it's not, you guys. It's not, and
No.
there's no way they could have allowed that, and they knew that. Okay, so there again,
And I even pushed back. I even pushed back a little bit on, because Turvey is
Yes.
Dr. Turvey is the one that discovered the broken evidence
Yes.
tag thing, if I recall. And
Yeah.
I pushed back a little bit on Chris and said, well, look, at the end of the day, wasn't this just going to be Sutton versus Dr. Turvey, and it's a matter of who believes which one they believe. And they're like, it's worse than that though. It's not just a matter of expert versus expert. That chain of custody, that would have been tossed out. Like that's not even a matter of opinion. That's just flat out illegal activity. Like it would have been tossed.
Then you have Kathy just put it in the chat. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's in his own drop. Yep, bingo. Judge Stephen J. Hippler at the motion to suppress hearing said your client's DNA is at the crime scene is probable cause every day of the week, twice on Sunday. We all know he made that statement, hence the song Twice on Sunday. But there again is like I'm saying, if he's gonna, this is what tells me that I'm one of the reasons that I was so uncomfortable with him and don't trust him. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense at all.
And
he couldn't have done that.
And let me clarify something. Stephen Hippler was wrong. Stephen Hippler said they had his DNA. They didn't, and he didn't understand that. His question actually started, if I remember right, he actually started, well, don't they have his DNA? DNA is DNA like he asked the question. If they have his DNA, then DNA is DNA every day and twice on Sunday. What you're missing is that was him assuming they had his DNA. They didn't have his DNA. So one could argue, sure, if they had his DNA, it's DNA every day, twice on Sunday, but they didn't have his DNA. That's the problem.
And there's the thing right there, Lee. You just hit the nail on the head with the biggest fucking hammer you could find. Oh my God, this pisses me off with this judge. Okay, I swear to God, it does. He didn't. It's almost like he didn't know anything about the damn case.
Right.
Why are you not reviewing the documents? True. Tell me why you're not reviewing this. This judge looks like an idiot. Okay.
Yeah.
God,
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he had lots of experience, sure, but not a lot of experience in a death penalty case like this. So
you didn't read the file.
He doesn't. Right. He doesn't seem to know much on DNA.
Remember this. This is the guy that said, "I'd like to say that I want to be here, but I don't want to start this as an untruth." Like he didn't even want to be at the trial, and it looked like it. Like half the time he was checked out. He's like this, like
yes.
God damn it! Do I have to be here to listen to this?
Judge, I'm sorry.
DNA, it's over.
And this is not Lee's channel saying this. This is me saying this. This judge is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, but he should have read everything, and he read nothing, in my opinion. He knew nothing about this case.
No,
nothing.
No. He's probably just relying on what his law clerks and whoever else decided to, and whatever Bill told him. That's probably what he was relying on, pretty much. So,
Judge Hippler, the Justice Crippler. Yes, that's exactly what he is.
Prosecutor. That he thinks like a prosecutor. Prosecutors believe most people are guilty. Most people that come into the court are guilty, and so that's his mindset. Like the guy's guilty. More than likely, odds are he's guilty.
He didn't read documents. He denied everything Ann Taylor had. And here's another point. We now know, okay, that there was, at least in my opinion, from what I read, that there was things that she didn't even receive because they were buried in mislabeled files, folks. And that's in chapter 1, I believe. So there again, and it was spoke upon. So there a lot of it. So if she didn't see it, that means he didn't see it either. He didn't see half of what he was supposed to see. So there again, it's ridiculous.
I love this comment.
Stephen Wolf 409 wants to know if I'm having a bromance with Chris. Let me answer it like this. My opinion is this. My opinion is I understand what Chris is doing with this book because I'm smart enough to understand what Chris is doing with this book. I'm going to work with Chris to accomplish what Chris wants to accomplish with this book. If you want to call that a bromance, so be it. I'm not swinging off of, Christopher.
Well, then we're all having a bromance.
What I'm smart enough to do is I'm smart enough to understand what that book's doing. And so I'm going to work for that for truth and justice. I believe in my heart, Christopher wants justice in this case, and he doesn't think justice was served. And that's what I am after as well. Did he, is he without reproach? No. And we can question him. I don't mind questioning him. If you guys want to question his, if he's a shill or if he's working for the government, that's fine. Let's question him. Let's take him to task. I don't mind that. I don't think Chris would mind me asking those questions. He's a big boy. He can handle himself. Yeah. So
I think he feels strong enough in what he's doing that he would have no problem with that. I'm good. Okay. I 100% behind Lee with what he said. 1,000,000%, folks. Absolutely. I'm right there with that. So let's do it because that's exactly what this is for, in my opinion.
Somebody says, DA, were you surprised when Chris acted like Hitler did such a great job? I don't remember him saying specifically Hitler did a great job. I remember him saying, I think Hitler's only had one case that was overturned.
Said he had a great career.
He did.
He had a great career. Yes.
Yeah.
He also kind of praised Bill Thompson.
He praised Hitler. He did.
You guys have to, again, understand his position. Just like he said, MPD did a great job. You know, my opinion, I said this on my show earlier, I think Chris's target, without saying it, is the prosecution, not MPD, not Judge Hitler, not ISB, none of that. Because guess who? The prosecution was the leader of the whole thing. Okay, and I do believe that's how he sees this. So
yeah.
If I were to be critical, I'm going to tell you my most critical thought of Chris right now. If I were to be critical of Chris, here's my most critical thinking. I think Chris believes that other people who committed this crime are walking free, and that's an injustice.
Yeah,
I think he wants them in jail, but I think Chris doesn't want law enforcement and people to go to jail for not getting it right. So if I were to be critical, I would say the only thing is he wants the truth to come out, but maybe he doesn't want certain law enforcement people to go to jail for it because they've done something that was illegal or whatever. That would be my biggest criticism, that maybe he wants the truth to come out, but he doesn't necessarily want somebody going to jail.
They did what they were told. They did their job.
Right.
So it's not truly their fault. Okay. And I said this how many times, you guys? I've said it here. 1-1, you know this, Robin, Lee. A lot of these people come in, they check their time card, and they do what they're told. They don't ask questions. And that's not their fault in some aspects. But
I have a problem. I have a problem with that, though.
And I get it. What I'm getting ready to say.
I have a problem with that because I'm in law enforcement, and we take an oath, and you're supposed to uphold the Constitution.
Right.
So I can say from my perspective, no, I don't do everything perfect, but no, I wouldn't throw away my integrity to change facts in a case and hide stuff.
That's the but. Yes. That was my butt that was coming. Well, I'm getting ready to say that. There is a but to that, folks. And that is what 1-1 just said. The ones that know what they're doing that's wrong, that swallowed their integrity and shit it out the next day, shame on you. You should have done the right thing.
And I have said it before, and I will say it again. If Kohberger didn't do it, and people lied and manipulated the evidence to put an innocent man in jail, then I do want those motherfuckers in jail.
Absolutely.
I want every person that helped put an innocent man in jail themselves. And I want full punishment for anyone who helped fuck an innocent person.
Accountability.
Yes, I don't know if he is innocent or not. I think he is. I don't know. But if it turns out that he truly was innocent, then I don't think they should just get a pass. Nobody should get a pass on this shit. Anybody that did something illegal should be held accountable for that.
That is no better.
And I don't believe that he was involved, but if Brian was involved, but he's not the only one. So I want every single person responsible for these crimes to go the fuck down. Now it's that simple. But at least this book gives us a crowbar to pry this thing open and maybe pry some more records loose that we don't already have, and maybe hold some more feet to the fire.
And my take on it is that I do believe Brian's absolutely 100% innocent. We all have different feelings on this, okay? I don't believe he had anything to do with it. Nothing, okay?
I'm inclined to believe he didn't. Yeah, I'm inclined to believe he didn't, but I'm kind of like Chris on the thing. Like, at the end of the day, you have to accept the possibility that he did but here's the thing. I know that he didn't. He did not give a factual plea because he said he did it alone, and there's no way in hell he did it alone.
Right.
So his plea deal was wrong. He did not do it alone. That I'm convinced of. And I'm not convinced. And the more I look at it, the more I'm convinced he wasn't even there.
Should void it.
But,
that should void the plea.
And even
the basis of
right.
And even if like, you know, some of the officers or whoever, they had nothing to do with the murders, but they manipulated the crime scene to cover other shit up. They all should pay the ultimate
full
price.
Accountability.
They should all be fired. They should all be, you know, they should get the highest penalty that there is.
And they should not be allowed to alter records and videos and shit like that.
No, and
absolutely.
To blame Chris for that he's not the one that did it. He would have no idea what we have because he didn't use YouTubers' videos. He didn't watch the hours and hours of videos that we did to know whether what we had was, altered with and messed with. So,
And yeah, thank you, Tomboy. And yeah, what to go with that, guys, and these idiots, which we've seen happen more times than none nowadays. It's a thing now that decide that I'm going to retire early, then I'll get away with it, and I
Yep.
won't have to face consequences. Fuck that and fuck them. That's no way.
that's right.
No,
Haul him the hell
no.
back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Full accountability with no excuse.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That should need to
Nope,
stop
none.
now.
Yep.
Sorry. I come in here yelling,
Everybody's all
swearing,
spun up. We
everything.
got a lot
Yeah.
of passion about this. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We're passionate about this.
We are.
The truth and justice and the story. We want to know what happened. That's all that
Right.
we're passionate
Yes.
about. We want to know what happened.
And,
Absolutely.
and I gotta say, listen. I gotta use listen now.
Listen.
Your
Listen.
comment. Listen. Obviously, I have a brotherhood and a kingship, right, with other law enforcement. But I'm the first one, and a few things have come up before on the show, or like some side topics. I'm the first one who will attack and go after anyone who violates people's rights, who lies, that does any kind of fuckery. We're held to a higher standard of law. And
Would you guys-
the power that we have should not be taken lightly. So
No.
the corruption
No.
with law enforcement or people in politics or all of that, you should get double the penalty.
There's a whole article on that thing I showed you, Leon. I sent it to you in private chat if you want to read it.
I was just going to say, I looked up, I found the Idaho Statesman article. It just came out hours ago. And I've got it on screen. It is quite lengthy. And I wonder if you guys would mind us reading it verbatim together and commenting
Please
on
do.
a paragraph. Right? Let's
Yeah.
let's
No,
fucking-
go
let's,
right
let's
for
it.
go,
Yeah.
Peter.
No.
Do
All
it
right.
live.
Do it live.
Do it live. All right, let me put it on
That's
screen.
why I
here.
threw it in the private chat for you. I didn't know if you had it. So I want to hear it all.
I looked it up independently, so I didn't see it there, but thank you very much for sharing that. And let me
Yeah.
put this on screen.
Thank Tomboy is the one that sent it to us. So thank you, Tomboy.
Perfect. We got to remove. God, I hate that I have to remove the previous thing to add something new. It should just automatically replace it. All right.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right. Here it is. Koberger's, I'm going to put it as big as I can get it. Koberger's defense expert says that police mishandled key evidence in the Idaho murder case. This is from April 23rd. Is that fucking today? That's today. Just a few hours ago. Right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
here we go. We're going to get, that's just the pivotal piece of evidence that tied Brian Koberger to the Moscow crime scene changed hands several times among law enforcement before it arrived for lab testing and may have been challenged at his murder trial over its documentation. Forensic scientist Brent Turvey, who worked as a crime scene an analyst expert for Koberger's defense team, alleges that police mishandled the knife sheath found inside the King Road house, where 4 University of Idaho State students were fatally stabbed on November of 2022. A week after the killings, the Idaho State Police Crime Lab in Meridian located on the leather sheath a single source of male DNA, later confirmed to be from Koberger. But prosecutors are tasked with proving the authenticity of evidence in court, including through its chain of custody with police for an item to be admitted at trial and considered by a jury. That chain for the knife sheath in Koberger's case appeared to Turvey to be legally insufficient, he told this Idaho Statesman. Now, so far, no bombs. There's no bombs, but let's keep reading and see if we can find anything that's more conclusive. His conclusion created a possible opening for Koberger's defense to prevent the sheath and the DNA found on it from being introduced at trial, Turvey said. If proved in court, it could have been monumental for upending the prosecution's case against Koberger. And again, think about it. The entire case is circumstantial without the DNA. It's completely circumstantial. Maybe his car is seen circling the neighborhood. Maybe he pinged off the cell tower. Maybe. It's completely 100% circumstantial without DNA in the house. The chain of custody with it on the outside is supposed to have one signature for every person that handled it, Turvey said in a phone interview. With each trade-off from this person to this person, there should be 2 sets of writing for each. But the evidence bag on the knife sheath lacked those required signatures, he said. The chain of custody was documented by a single person after the fact when the knife sheath came through the state crime lab, which he called manufactured. Now listen, it arrived at the crime lab without an evidence tag on it at all. And they slapped an evidence tag on it, and one person filled it out by themselves. That is 100% illegal. Yep. That is all illegal. Yep. Somebody sat down and fabricated, listen to that. Somebody sat down and fabricated and falsified evidence for the chain of custody, Turvey said. And there's a picture. We showed it the other night. That's all the same handwriting. Right there, you can see on the label, knife sheath. Now look, up here, look, you got a couple of different signatures. That's the way it's supposed to look. One signature there, a different signature there, their signature, different signature there. But this here is bullshit. That is all one person filling out the crimes, the evidence tag. So, veteran criminal attorneys in Idaho who spoke to the Statesman rejected the premise of Turvey's assumptions. Oh, great. So they're like, Turvey's full of shit. Both generally and specific to the knife sheath evidence in Koberger's case, and police involved in the case did as well. Regardless, Koberger's murder case never went to trial. In last July, Koberger 31 pled guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and a plea agreement that allowed him to avoid the death penalty. Okay, so that's kind of fluff. We don't need to read about all that. We know what the history is. Okay, Idaho attorneys are weighing in. Following the conclusion of the closely tracked criminal case, ISP released a photo of the evidence bag that contained the knife sheath when it arrived to the lab on November 16th, 2022. It includes redactions over the names of the ISP trooper who hand-delivered it and the evidence specialist who checked it into the lab, and an ISP scannable barcode. The red and white evidence seal is unbroken and signed by BP, dated 11/14, which stands for Moscow Police Department Corporal Brett Payne, who led the homicide investigation. Okay, so this is supposedly how it originally arrived. But a different photo of the evidence bag that Turvey said was state record released to the defense ahead of trial, a copy of which is provided to the Statesman, includes a police chain of custody sticker documenting its path to the lab. It details the knife sheath's recovery from the crime scene on November 13th and its handoff from ISP Detective Payne the next day, so that'd be on the 14th, into Moscow police evidence, and then on 2 ISP troopers who drove it to the lab on November 16th. The photo also shows a Moscow police barcode and a green sticker with an evidence number on the bag's opposite flap. The second image was deliberately withheld from the public. That's fucking bullshit. The second was deliberately withheld from the public despite resolution of the case, Turvey said. So they took a plea deal and they never told the public that the chain of custody was fabricated and busted. It reveals that the sticker to the document, the police chain of custody was added later, he said. Regardless of the type of item discovered at a crime scene or its importance to the case, prosecutors must establish the chain of custody. For evidence at trial, acknowledged the Twin Falls County prosecutor, Grant Lopes, who sat in a leadership role with the Idaho Prosecuting Attorneys Association. It doesn't matter if you found it, if you can't prove what you did with it afterwards, he said in a phone interview. It has to be secured. It has to be handled properly, documented who had it and when and what they did with it and who they gave it to. It is
Do you realize what would have happened if Turvey would have been able to drop his report just 1 week before this?
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
We would not be sitting there having this fucking conversation, you guys. I swear to God. This would have blown up. Oh my God. This makes me so mad.
Now, this is where it has interesting implications for Ann Taylor. It's not uncommon for defense attorneys to simply sign off that the chain of custody is in order to save time and move proceedings along, Lopes said. That's because, if necessary, a chain of custody can be affirmed in court through testimony of each person who handled the evidence while in police possession in the absence of a specific log with individual signatures. This is a big paragraph. Let me explain what I understand that means. Ann Taylor probably already knew the chain of custody had problems, but she signed off on it and said, go ahead and admit it into court because I'll attack that shit at trial. That's my wording. She signed off on it. She knew it had a busted chain of custody, but she was going to argue that at trial, and she was going to shred that shit at trial, in my opinion. But guess what? Koberger pled guilty, and she didn't get to go to trial. What the fuck happened there?
Yeah.
Well, and I question that though. Now, if she knew it, Lee, why didn't she hold out on that then? That's my question at that point.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't sign off on that.
I have a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I feel like I wouldn't have signed off on that.
That's a big problem.
It's a big problem.
again, if Turvey would have dropped this report 1 week before this, just 1 week, this all would have been different. I swear to God, it would have been different. And if not, then I would have questioned Ann Taylor, to be honest with you, because every bit of what he put in his report completely blasts this shit out of the water.
Right.
Every bit of it. Damn.
In his more than 30 years of experience as an attorney in the state, Lobes has seen what he called a legitimate challenge in court to the chain of custody for a piece of evidence almost never. So he's never seen them argue the evidence tag and it. Well, this one would have. This would have been fought at trial. Police know this is a big issue and are generally very careful about it, he said. They never know if a piece of evidence is key. Sometimes it's obvious, but not always. So they have to treat everything like it's a key piece of evidence because you don't know. You can pick up a toothbrush and you're thinking, it's just a toothbrush, but it maybe the killer brushed his teeth. You don't know. So you treat every piece of evidence, but I'll damn well bet you they knew the knife sheath was an important piece of evidence in this crime scene. But anyways.
This is the second time that we've seen or heard somebody, an expert, say, in 30 years of experience, I've never seen so much fuckery in my life, basically.
Right. Edwina
Sorry for
Elcox,
my language. I'm just really wound up tonight about this.
Edwina Elcox, a longtime criminal defense attorney in Boise, agreed that chain of custody objections rarely succeed. Much of police evidence. See, this is almost soft peddling this bullshit. Chain of custody issues never succeed in trial. So what? She would have argued. It's fucking illegal to do what they did with signing that thing by one person. And they're acting like, it's not a big deal. Chain of custody.
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. So why are they soft peddling that bullshit in this article? Like it's not a big deal.
Cover their asses.
Right. Much of police evidence gathering and preservation is absolutely standard protocol, and members of law enforcement can be called to the stand to testify about whether their individual role processing an item from a crime scene. So that's what Ann Taylor would have done. Officer so-and-so, I see your signature here. Did you sign that? That they would have perjured their ass on the fucking stand if they said, yeah, I signed it, and they know they didn't. So what are you going to do? You're going to Ann Taylor's going to put every single officer on that tag on there and say, do you see that signature right there? Is that your signature? Did you sign that? If they say yes, and they couldn't have been because they were somewhere in Bahamas at that day when it got signed, you're a fucking liar, and now you're out.
That's why I question. I'm questioning now if she did know this now because I can't see her letting this pass by.
It would have been brought up right away too.
I think so too. I don't think she did know about this.
She would have pushed to have everyone that signed that thing then thrown out. Like they would have been able to testify.
Saw this? Do you guys think she saw this?
I don't know. I feel like honestly, if you were to ask me my opinion, I guess you are. I think Ann Taylor got lazy towards the end. And she started making more mistakes. And she was thought, look, this has been 3 years. And if my client wants to plead guilty, I'm not going to fight him that much because I got shit to do. Like, I feel like that was kind of, there's a part of me that thinks she just kind of was like, I'm exhausted. This case is exhausting. If my client feels happy with the plea deal, then I'm just going to take the plea.
Right.
And there again, maybe she thought that with everything else that she knew they weren't going to give her already, things that they already had screwed her on. What's the point? I'm going to point it out, and they're going to find a way around it anyways. It could have been a thought too. Sorry, one more.
Yeah, and Gen 7S. I've said this before, but I want to make sure we take the moment to clarify. Many people asked, why did Ann Taylor allow Brian Koberger to do this? She can't not allow it. She has to represent the wishes of her client. If her client wants to plead guilty, she cannot stop him. So the people who keep asking, why did she allow her client to do it? It's his decision. She can advise him, but it's his decision. So she can stop him if he wanted to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's just very hard to believe that she.
I think she was deflated.
She saw that.
I think she might have been deflated. I don't want to call it lazy, but deflated. Her mother died. She was hitting brick walls every direction she was turning, and maybe like Lee said, maybe she had just taken on the other case she was taking, another death penalty case. And everything, so being deflated, I mean, think about it. Does make sense. Maybe she just felt like this is not going to matter no matter what I do. It's just they're not going to allow this. So I get that to an extent. So, but I still think she should have chased this. I do.
This is going to be, by the way, Kathy's Indie Zone. This is going to be in my video tomorrow. I told you I'm making a 10-part series. This is actually going to, so I'm stealing my own thunder for my video tomorrow. I was at the plea hearing. I was at the plea hearing, and I don't know. I need to, like, I tell you what I see. I saw a moment, for example, and I told you all about it, where I saw a imperceptible little smirk on someone's face, and I commented. But here's what I saw happen. In my opinion, Stephen Hippler, when he was asking to do all of the plea thing, he wanted to make clear. He said, and Ann Taylor, Mrs. Taylor, did you have enough time to review all the discovery? Hippler was smiling and smirking because he knew she did not. She just recently had told him she did not have time to review all the discovery. He knew she did not have time, but he also knew she has to answer in the affirmative or the plea deal's off. So he asked her, and he almost couldn't keep a straight face when he was like, and did you have enough time to review the discovery? He was smiling because he knew that it was like, she knows it. And she rolled her eyes. She paused and said, yes, Your Honor. It was a fucking bullshit moment. The judge knew she didn't have time. She knew she didn't have time, but she had to answer in the affirmative or her client's plea deal was off the table. So
in effect, I would believe, I mean, even though he said what he said, what Brian said during the plea deal, I'm going to call ineffective assistance of counsel. Honest to God. I mean, look at this for just this alone. And I don't want to talk bad about Ann. I'm not trying to. But, I mean, at this point, guys, it's not about Ann Taylor. It's about Brian Koberger and the truth and real justice, okay? So this, in my opinion, has to be ineffective assistance of counsel.
And look at this. This paragraph from the article is the biggest whitewashed piece of shit I've ever seen. As long as chain of custody can be established, the court's going to allow evidence to come in, Elcock said in a phone interview. The reality is, when there's a procedural flaw, that there's something the police was supposed to do and policies dictate best practices, or if it's required, does it necessarily exclude the evidence when those things don't happen? No, it doesn't. So what she's trying to say is, look, it's just a procedural issue that the police forgot to put a chain of custody thing on it and fabricated the chain of custody thing. It still would have come in. It's just a procedure thing. That's fucking
this is funny.
Yeah, but then it could have been torn apart on the stand and they knew it.
That is bullshit.
Funny, though. But this is funny though, because if you just look at it's almost like, it's a hypocrisy. Like here, as long as chain of custody can be established, that's the whole point. You can't establish the chain of custody. Well,
right.
No, just
that's
because,
the whole point.
Just because Officer Smith says he didn't sign it. He said he did, but he didn't. So no, we can't. That's the whole point. We can't establish the chain of custody.
In my opinion, the only way that argument could uphold is if an officer's body-worn camera was on from the moment that he walked in and saw the knife sheath and put it in a bag, and then that camera documents and never turns off, and you see who he hands it to, and you see the sticker go on it, and you never lose sight of it. But if it ever loses sight of a camera, you've lost chain of custody. You can't say what happened. If somebody had it for 10 minutes when it was off camera, then you cannot verify its chain of custody and what happened to it during that 10 minutes it was off camera. So
I would really
especially
be
when
curious
what evidence
Chris's
tag was slapped on
take
later.
This would be.
With who?
Really be curious what Chris thinks of this. If anything, you know what I mean?
So look at this. It's not a game changer. Or it's not a game ender. Turvey said he raised his concerns about the retroactive police chain of custody for the knife sheath, the Cobra's defense team, led by the public defender Ann Taylor. The backdated evidence bag sticker represented criminal evidence tampering, false reporting, and professional misconduct, he alleged to the Statesman. Moscow Police Chief Anthony Dallinger, a captain in charge of the city's department's detectives at the time, said that his agency, in collaboration with state police, met the legal requirements for processing the King Road crime scene that included the needed documentation for individual pieces of evidence, such as the knife sheath, he told the Statesman in a phone. So his political answer was, we did everything correctly.
Bullshit.
Let's see if that would have held up a court.
Bullshit.
It says in the beginning of this article that it was purposely withheld from the public. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not meeting the. Oh my God.
Wow. The local
I hate
department
this case.
hasn't documented evidence chain of custody with handwritten notes for a log for at least a decade, Dallinger said. Instead, Moscow police rely on electronic barcodes and green stickers with evidence numbers on that system, and that system worked in this case. So there's their defense.
Oh, you mean like the ones that got renumbered?
Yeah, that was on the evidence tagging. So that's his defense. And let's back up for a second. Is he right? So they slapped a barcode on it. And he says that's really all they do anymore. They just do barcodes. That whole evidence tag that was written in one person's hand is a formality. Well, then why fucking do it? Why do it? Why have an evidence tag and take the effort to write in everybody's names if you don't use that?
Yeah, it doesn't.
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't track.
Right.
Idaho State Police did not respond to the Statesman for several days to meet a required deadline. The main thing is the integrity of the packaging to show clearly that the seal and the signature has no cuts or scrapes or tears, Dallinger said. From my knowledge and experience, this is not a game ender for that piece of evidence. Dallinger was unmoved by Turvey's assertion that the knife sheath could have been withheld as evidence if Koberger's case had gone to trial, or that it would have changed the end result of a successful prosecution. Of course, look, that's what they're going to tell you. They no longer have to prove anything in this case because they pled guilty. So they can say whatever. Oh yeah, that we would have got him anyways. They're allowed to say that. They can say that all day long. Yeah, we would have got him anyways.
That. They did say that at the end of the sentencing hearing. Oh, we probably would have got him with that car. Shut up.
Yeah. All right. We followed the facts and evidence that showed that one person did this. Really? What about the hair in Maddie and Kaylee's bed that's torn out by the roots? What about the hair that's in Ethan's hand on the floor in the bedroom in that room? So the evidence shows that one person did this? Really? Does it?
Bullshit.
Turvey said 3 different knives were used, a couple of serrated knives, and nothing in there conclusively said a K-bar knife did any of the wounds.
Nope.
And so, yes, would that have been one expert versus another? Yes, but the jury would have had to struggle with those answers, especially when a serrated knife was found at the crime scene. All right. In the weeks leading up to the trial, Taylor informed a group of defense experts helping on the case, including Turvey, that Koberger planned to take a plea deal with the prosecution, Turvey said. He still never received a straight answer from Taylor and her defense team about that decision, he said, nor about the evidence chain of custody issue that he had presented. So listen, that's a big thing. Turvey wants to know why Ann Taylor is taking a plea deal or why her client's taking a plea deal. And he says he never got a straight answer from Ann Taylor about why Brian Koberger was suddenly taking a plea or why they were just kind of dismissing the evidence tag issue. She didn't give him an answer that she could give him.
Wow. What a joke.
All right. Taylor and fellow case public defender Alyssa Massoff are scheduled to give a 2.5-hour presentation at the Idaho Association for Criminal Defense Lawyers annual event on Saturday in Sun Valley.
Yes.
Lessons learned from Koberger. The paid event requires attendees to pledge to keep all their information confidential. Why the fuck do we still have to keep this thing secret? What is the big fucking... Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. Why do we still have to keep everything confidential? The fucking case is over. Brian Koberger pled guilty. Open shit up. Why are you still having meetings to talk about stuff and saying that everything we talk about in this meeting has to be kept confidential? What's the big secret? If it happened like you told us to.
Wait, hold on. Here's my question. Why can they go to Sun Valley and talk about this, but they can't tell the world about it?
What the fuck is going on in this case?
I don't understand that at all.
That's fucking insane, and I'm sorry that... Oh, why did I do
bullshit.
this tonight? Oh my God, this is insane.
Even if the defense in the case sought to challenge the knife sheath over a perceived chain of custody procedural issue, look at this whitewash. If they were even going to think about just arguing about a stupid procedural issue, it would not have impacted whether it was admitted at trial, Elcock said. Instead, it would have been left to the jurors to decide how much weight to place on the piece of evidence as they deliberated over Koberger's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Even so, believe me, if a jury knows that officers are taking time to falsify documents, does it not call into question whether or not they handled this correctly? Yeah, I do need to breathe. Thank you, Wisteria 946. I think I'm going to burst a blood vessel. I need to fucking...
I think I already did.
Calm the fuck down. I hope we're done with this article because I'm losing my shit. The defense could theoretically make something of that and say that they're supposed to document it this way. Elcock says you can argue all of those things, but it doesn't preclude admissibility. So again, Elcock is here to tell you this would not, everything I just told you at the beginning, which this would have thrown out the evidence. She's saying, no, it would not have thrown out the evidence. A jury just would have to decide how much weight to put on it. And so, okay, well, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But she expressed doubts such an objection would have gotten Koberger's defense team very far at trial. Yeah, because again, you guilter motherfuckers are all like, nobody would have taken that serious. Everybody knew he was a psycho killer with no evidence really at all. But all right.
Al Cox is another idiot like Sutton. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the end of the article. Thank God. I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
This is insane.
I need a drink.
You need something strong. Yeah.
Unbelievable, you guys. Absolutely unbelievable.
Wow.
So is this I think it's the first time Ann Taylor's actually speaking about it, even though it's
But why is it okay for her to go to
Yeah,
Sun Valley
why
and
is it
have
gonna be
this
secret?
entire thing and tell it, let's keep it quiet, but you can't tell the public the truth?
Well, yeah,
It's-
why does the entire
yeah.
process of lessons learned have to be? Why can't the public learn from some lesson learned? Why does it have to be confidential? The lessons learned in this case.
I my blood pressure is up right now. I can feel
It's
it.
for
Oh my God, I'm so
Idaho
irritated. So
Association of
irritated.
Criminal Defense Lawyers. Yeah.
Good Lord.
At this point, I think Ann needs to make a statement and explain some things. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to get high.
Yeah.
I need a cigar.
Christ. I agree with
How-
Kathy too. I hope Fixler keeps up on this and ISP and to get their input, they processed it. Yeah, I agree, Kathy.
Well, here's the problem with Fixler. Here's the problem with Fixler. I don't know much about Fixler, but here's the problem with Fixler. Half of his article was quoting a source saying all of that, what he just said, what Turvey said was horseshit and it wouldn't have stood up and wouldn't have made a difference anyways. So he spent most of his article saying, Dr. Turvey says it's a problem.
Yes.
Here's 3/4 of the rest of my article saying that an expert says that that's full of shit. It wouldn't have made a difference anyways.
Unbelievable. It is truly unbelievable. I cannot believe the things that are allowed to happen within this case. I
I
can't.
will say we do use a system like that in NYPD, the barcode.
The barcode. Yeah.
Like when something scans out, scans in, when it goes, we use the barcode. But my question is, why do they have the tag with all those
Right.
signatures? You know, that's
Right.
the issue. That
Why
I
did
have.
one person sign every fucking signature?
That's the
I
I don't get
question.
it. That's what I don't get.
Right.
feel
Right.
like-
And so I
If they're just
Yeah.
using the barcode system, which I
They
get,
just use the barcode system.
because we use a system
Yeah.
like that here. But what's the
Yeah.
deal with all the signatures then?
I feel like I want to call her office and ask myself, like, what are you doing? What did you do? Why did you do this? Why did you allow this? God damn.
Yeah, no, and that's why I kind of backpedaled a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so fair. If it had a barcode and the barcode never was
Right.
broken, and that
Senor
then-
Wazowski.
then
Yeah, he
maybe
used
you
it
had
too.
good chain of
Yeah.
custody. But why then slap an evidence tag on it and put everybody's fake names on it if
Exactly.
you're just using a barcode system?
Exactly.
It's interesting. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I have to calm down and rethink it. If the barcode never got tampered with, I don't know. Does it mean it was solid? But again, it would have led to questions of integrity on the stand in front of a jury, in my opinion. Why did they
Turvey would have called
falsify
it out? I
Yeah.
don't think Turvey would have called it out if it wasn't a problem. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
God damn it. I
Barcodes
truly
won't
hate this case.
retroactively date evidence. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I think that's probably good for tonight. I mean, but let's summarize with what we started with. Are we getting divided as a community because of Chris's book? Is Chris's book a positive thing or a negative thing? I'm going to put a poll out. I think I'm going to take a poll with our audience that's here.
Yeah.
Do you think Christopher Whitcomb's book has a positive or a negative input? Will it divide the community, ultimately become a negative thing, or will this be a positive? So let me get my poll out. Give me a second. I got to get there.
Oh, here we go again.
Here we
Here
go
we go again.
All right. Let's go here.
Get the shiny pole out.
I should have just.
All
went
right.
to
Here
bed.
we go to Sun Valley. Your wife wants to take a road trip, Lee.
Let's go.
Let's crash
go.
it. Yeah. We'll wear devil's advocates and meatball sweatshirts and jackets.
Yeah.
I can just see the looks on that one. What the fuck is all this? Yeah. Oh, senor, I'm not even going there.
All right. So the question I'm going to appears to be too long. Okay. Here's what I'm going to ask. Will Christopher Whitcomb's book, Broken Plea, have a positive or negative impact on the true crime community? And I had to kind of abbreviate community because I ran out of lyrics. I'm going to put yes, no, or unsure. That's all I'm going to do. Are you doing the poll too, or is it just me, Dago?
I'm not
You're
live.
not-
I'm
you're
just
not
here with.
co-streaming.
I'm
Okay.
just a guest. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Will Christopher Whitcomb's book ultimately have a positive or a negative impact on the true crime community? And by that I mean, will it divide us, all of us YouTubers and people searching for justice, and we're all going to fight and bicker with each other about whether you can or can't trust Christopher Whitcomb and whether he's telling truth or he's steering the narrative? Will it have a positive or a negative income? That's what I'm asking. Will it divide the community or will it unite the community? Or you're not sure, and that's what the poll is going to ask.
And I think you should answer it truthfully, not the way you want it to be, because
Yeah, right.
that's what I'm going to do. Because I know what I want it to do, but I'm
And
going to be
what I
honest
think
about
it's
it.
going to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting some good votes coming in, so let it sit there for a while. So while we're kind of doing that, we'll get ready to close for the evening. I want to thank everybody. I'm going to have, again, I put out a video this morning, part 1 of a 10-part series that I'm planning on doing on kind of the heartbeat of the book, what to look for and what the key points were that I found interesting in Christopher Whitcomb's book. Yeah.
Lee, I think I don't mean to cut you off. I think you confused some people with the way you wrote
they're
the
asking
poll.
questions.
Yeah.
Because
I was just going to say that.
Because the way you wrote it, because you said, will Christopher Whitcomb's book, Broken Plea, have a positive or negative impact on the true crime community? And it's yes, no, or unsure. Maybe you should just put positive, negative, or unsure. Or you should rewrite it a different way.
You want me to rewrite it? Okay.
Well, people seem to be confused.
Because they're asking, is yes positive, no negative?
Well, then
just
the problem
rewrite
is
it.
I don't see a way to delete the poll. I can only end the poll and then do
Just
another
end
poll.
it and start a new one.
Just end it. Just end it and do a new one. Because I think people are confused.
Okay, tell me how to word it.
Let's see.
Will
just
Broken
say,
Plea.
Will
just say
Broken
what
Plea
effect
divide?
will it have on the
Okay.
true crime community?
Yeah.
Divide it, unite it, or unsure.
Right.
There you go.
That's
There you
perfect.
go.
Yeah.
What effect will the book Broken Plea have on the true crime community? Is that better?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Divide.
And say
Divide it.
unite it or unsure.
Unsure. Right. It's just a poll.
So not positive, negative, but you want unite. Do you want positive, negative, or unsure, or united?
Yeah, positive, negative, unsure. That's
Positive,
fine.
negative. Okay.
There you go.
I think I'm thinking about my poll too much. All right.
Most men do.
All right. Now I put out the new one.
Robin.
Yes, that's better. That's
Most.
better.
Did you?
Yeah, there we go.
I heard you.
Oh my God.
You're right. We're getting different results. So apparently, I confused people with the way that I wrote that last question.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a little bit of time. Ooh, wow, it's funny. We're getting way faster and more votes on the second go around because people were so confused. I guess they didn't.
They were like,
right?
ready.
They weren't sure how to answer. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I have not read the book. So yeah, I understand if you haven't read the book, it's hard to have an opinion about whether the book's going to divide people or not divided. But what effect will the book Broken Plea have on the true crime community? Positive, negative, or unsure? All right, I got about 70 votes. I'm still seeing it going up, 74. I'll cut it off at 100 if we get that high, or I'll cut it off when it just completely flatlines. We're at 75.
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like we're kind of flatlined there. So it looks like we got, what's the final numbers on this? They think that 55% of the people that we took a poll of say that they think it's going to have a positive effect. 29% think they're not sure, and 16% think it's going to have a negative impact on the true crime community.
Well,
why do you say that surprises you? Why do you think you said that surprises you?
I don't know. I think I thought it was more people were gonna say negative. I think.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Because
I think it's gonna be a negative effect in some way.
Yeah, because you got some big YouTubers out there who are going right after Chris.
Yeah.
Already. So.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I think so too. 1-1.
You don't see poll. Well, lose some weight. Maybe you'll be able to see your poll. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I just make a horrible joke. That's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do. I have to.
Oh my god.
Welcome to the Crimes After Dark show.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
I should have just went to bed. Damn it.
All right, let's wrap up as a group with our final thoughts. Dago, I'll let you go first, one, then Robin, and then I'll close us out. So
Dago, did you do the poll?
I did.
Yeah.
What's the
I didn't
No,
run
he-
the
he's
poll.
not-
No,
he's
I'm
not
not
co-streaming,
streaming.
no.
I just popped
Yeah,
in
he's
to
not
hang out for a little
co-streaming
bit. But thanks for guys for having me on the night that I'm normally not here. I knew I'd show up here on the nights that I was off at some point because I like doing this. So it was great to be here. It was great conversation. I did get my blood pressure raised again, but hey, that's what this case does to me. This is why I hate it. So I hate to love it. I'll tell you that much. But thank you guys for having me again. As always, I appreciate the community. The moderators are amazing. You guys are truly amazing people, and I appreciate the support you guys have given all of our channels through this entire ridiculous case. And I look forward to more and more and more of it. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. Don't forget to love yourselves, love each other. I'll be looking for you tomorrow, my show, and here again, because tomorrow is the day I was supposed to be here. And don't change a thing. You guys truly are. Jesus Christ. The beautiful people. I love you guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you for joining us tonight on your night off. I appreciate the rich. One, what do you got for close?
Great discussion. I'm all fired up now. Now I need a nice long pull of a cigar to smoke. Great stuff. Listen, this stuff is gonna keep coming out and keep making your questions. Just because someone writes a book and has all this stuff out, no one is saying to, just, throw everything aside and don't question anything. That's not what anyone is saying at all. But I think the main point of this book is to kind of point us in certain direction where we kind of maybe had a theory or somewhat, but we were a little lost. We needed, some little breadcrumbs to like, hey, look over here. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but here, look at
Right.
this. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. So Chris is, again, not going to give us like his whole breakdown theory. Oh, I think this was, whatever, some escort thing gone wrong or crazy ex-boyfriend. Or he's not going to say that, but he's kind of sprinkling, some little breadcrumbs. Here, come over here, look at this. And it's for us to really look at it, question like why is he making such a big deal about a certain piece of evidence or interview or SUV. So sure, in the back of your mind, yes, I saw a lot of comments tonight, people saying like, oh, but some of this is just hearsay. And I get that. Some of it is hearsay because we don't have access to some of those documents and photos that he has. And you're not wrong that it is that is kind of hearsay. However, you have to look at the whole picture. This is why I think he was not trying to make this book as like a sensational piece. Like this is my theory on, I think this is what happened. Just here, this is what I saw. This doesn't make sense. Now you go run with it. Now you go argue on Devil's Advocates or whatever channel, and you'll find something here. So
Yeah.
I hope that the stuff that I hope that the overall community, at least the vote from here, it said that people seem to think it's positive. I do hope the majority of people feel that way. I hate to see stuff that divides us, that really doesn't accomplish anything. Questioning, and let me be clear, um, just because you question something, that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, there's a difference in questioning, or you want, a further explanation, or you want to debate something. That's fine, but completely bashing someone and say they have no credibility, or this is a hit piece, this is propaganda, it's nothing. That's a completely different story. So question. I implore you all to question everything.
Yeah,
That's fine, you know. So,
100%.
but again, great stuff by Lee. If you just to plug his video, he did part 1 today. I think it's like about a half hour. Great
Yeah.
video. I think he's making a 10-part series. I don't know if he's doing it, if something's coming out every day, but he'll explain more to that. But great little, if you just want to get like a little appetizer, a half hour goes by pretty quick. I actually watched it at work while I was surprised smoking a cigar outside.
Nice.
I'll leave you with a movie quote now, but thanks. Great stuff. So early 2000s we got here.
Okay.
All right. You're smiling. What? You were smiling. No, I'm not. You were. No, I was not. You're not now, but you were. No, you were
Goodfellas.
smiling. I wasn't smiling.
Goodfellas.
You were. When? Like 5 seconds ago. I'm not smiling. Well, a second ago you were. No, you said 5 seconds ago. Now that's 6. 6 seconds ago, I was not smiling. Okay, 10 seconds ago. 10 seconds ago,
Yeah.
I was smiling. Okay, in the next 10 seconds, let's see who smiles first. You smiled already. See? You did.
Maybe not.
No, that was a smirk. That's not a smile. A smirk is different. They both start with S, but they're not the same. Do your homework.
So not Goodfellas?
No, I guess not.
No.
No, because there was more
Nope.
to it than that.
Smile
No.
2? I don't think it was Smile 2.
Never. No, never heard. I'm lost.
No.
No idea.
All right.
That's what you
Nope. Somebody, E. Potty said Ben-Hur.
Yeah, Ben
No,
Hur's
I'll
not
say-
early 2000.
Do you know what? Do you know what this is? It's a charger used by convicts to hide money and drugs. They tuck it up their rectum. This is a pencil
Oh.
detonator timer used as a receiver.
Is
for
Christopher Walken the
pager.
one saying that line? Is Christopher Walken the one saying that line, or
Oh, shit.
don't know-
I
you don't
know
know.
this.
This is C4, highly
Okay.
explosive. You put it all together, you've got a bomb. Not very sophisticated, but very powerful.
oh,
That's
maybe
what
not.
you have in your ass right now. Don't move. Don't move.
Yes.
It's a
Um,
comedy.
Oh God, that actually was a line I remembered.
Yeah. And it
No,
is Walken.
Yeah.
Was it
yeah.
Christopher Walken saying
What are you
that?
gonna?
He plays
What are you
the
gonna
guy-
do?
Joe Dirt.
What
Joe
I
Dirt.
do best.
Yeah,
Was it
somebody
Joe
said
Dirt?
Joe Dirt.
I'm gonna kill him. Anyone that was involved, anybody who profited from it, anybody who opens their eyes at me, you kill them all.
You need to tell us.
We don't know.
I'll give you a hint. It has Denzel Washington in it.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. Definitely not Joe Dirt.
No,
No. Just tell us.
Training
Just tell
Day.
us.
We just
Man
Man
had
on
it.
Fire. Man
A
on
Man
Fire.
on
Oh.
Fire. Oh,
Okay.
Never
shit.
thought.
Man, we
Good
just
movie.
fail when it gets
Good
into the
movie.
early
Definitely
2000s.
not a comedy.
All right. Thank you very much for the movie trivia. You stumped us tonight. Robin, what do you got for
Wow.
close?
He stumps me every time because
Uh,
No,
Yeah,
you've gotten
second.
some.
maybe once or twice. But anyhow, so but I want to give a shout out to Kathy's Indie Zone. She's been with us in the chat here all night. So
yeah.
for
Yes.
those of you who don't
Definitely.
know her channel, please go show her some love. She does excellent
yeah,
work. So
she's
thank you
awesome,
for hanging out with
awesome.
us tonight.
Yes.
So we really appreciate that. But yeah, this is hopefully going to open some doors. Chris's book, is any book perfect? No. Is any author perfect? No. But this is going to open some doors. And so I hope and pray that as the true crime community, we can utilize this book to, as a crowbar to open some doors, to find some more things that we can pry out of the authorities' hands through FOIA requests and public records requests. So that is my hope for that. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. We appreciate you so very much. And for our awesome replay crew, we appreciate you just as much. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.
All right. Thank you, Robin. And for myself, I will play us out with Murphy. We had a request earlier tonight that we need Murphy to kind of bring us back to earth, because we had a really serious tonight with all the shouting and the yelling, and I probably burst a blood vessel.
Sorry.
Dave was having a heart attack, and and maybe we overreacted. Maybe we got carried away in the moment. I don't know. I try to be level headed, but I also am passionate about things that I see that there's fuckery, and fuckery makes me angry. So check us out again tomorrow night at another Crimes After Dark at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we will play out with, hopefully, if I can. Now I don't know what's going to happen when I hit the button, but we're going to play out with Murphy, and we'll see if it works here. Let's go. Yeah, works perfect. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Good night.
I have to put my snowman on.
Barking all night, but nobody hears. So far in the distance, then gradually nears. A fleeting encounter, then disappears.
Diego's got his little toy out.
How did he leave? Did he fly with his ears? Murphy, he's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy, he's a cute and curly golden demigod. Not a mark on him, not a hair left behind. He's better behaved than all humankind. He'll clean up his paw prints for some bacon rind. Before you know it, he's gone. He's so streamlined. Murphy, he's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy, he's a cute and curly golden demigod. Traveling the universe through space and time.
Just show Chris this. No.
How do you do it? You're key to this crime. Are you here? Are you there? Are you anywhere or everywhere?
This playlist, by the way, is on Spotify. I put the link in there.
Murphy, he's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy, he's a cute and curly golden demigod. You're such a good dog. You're such a good dog.
Night, everybody.
Night, night.